Welcome back to another episode of Mark the Path. I'm here with my very special guest, Tony McCarthy. So, Tony, what do you do?
Hey, so I am a body transformation coach.
Okay. What's a day in the life of a body transformation coach?
Right, so imagine a world full of people working out in a gym, trying their best to get in great shape. They're going 3-4 times a week, they're eating healthy, and they're doing everything they think they should be doing to get in great shape. But for some reason, they look in the mirror, and month by month, they're still the same. So I'm the guy that comes in, and when they really want to get serious about the results, they ask me to help them out, and I'll take them through a 3 to 6 month challenge where they will learn everything they need to know about their body, about their nutrition, their lifestyle, and their mindset, so that they finely tune everything so that it's completely aligned to them getting in great shape. And this is all about them having the right amount of focus, so I keep them focused, and this is about creating the right sort of environment for them as well, so that we don't have any distractions getting in the way of everything. And it's about getting them emotionally connected, which we have done together, and all about getting that emotion. And then the big thing that brings it all together is the consistency. So I'm the guy that will be able to keep you consistent, even when you fall off the wagon, or even when you feel like you don't want to do the task you've got ahead. I'll bring you back to what your purpose is, why that's meaningful for you, and help you re-look at your environment, everything that you've got going on around you, because sometimes we fall out of our habits quite easily, and we just got to shake things up a little bit. So a day in the life is me working with these people doing that sort of stuff. Yeah, okay. So right, top of the tree of what it takes to be me is I have to prioritize my health as the main concern. So if you think that everything that I do revolves around making sure that my energy is being restored, and that I do everything I can from a mental, spiritual, physical point of view to make sure that I'm well-rounded to enter in the day. So there are some things that I do on a regular basis that allow me to have that sort of energy. So one of those things is a consistent morning routine. And so that's waking up at 5:30 every day. Now, that's not necessarily for any specific reason apart from my day starts at 6:30 in the morning, 7 o'clock. So I like to be up nice and early so that I can get myself off to work. In the perfect world, my day would start at work a little bit later because I would like to see the sunrise, Mark. So one of the things that I would like to work on, very much so that I have really good mitochondrial health, is that I could see the sunrise every day. At the minute, that's not exactly where I'm at because I'm having to work, but something that I'm working on myself. So even this magnificent oil painting that you see in front of you, this angelic fresco, there's still a few cracks, but it's a work in progress, and we're never going to be perfect. So let's think. I'm waking up at 5:30 every day. I will go downstairs, and there's some supplements that I take. So I'll rehydrate myself, and I'll take some of my supplements. Tudca is one of the supplements I use.
Tudca?
Yeah, TUDCA. So this is a supplement that helps with clearing the liver out, and it helps liver support.
Okay.
And then I'll also take Q10. So this is in the morning. So I'll have 2 or 3 tablets of Tudca, and then I'll have Q10. And this is all about keeping my insides in check, my cholesterol, and all of my levels nice and balanced.
It's interesting to me, I guess. At what point do you find out this is... Because I think I'm going through this journey myself. I'm starting to look into supplements.
Yeah.
And I realized that, like, for instance, a lot of posts on my Instagram, there's so many things out there.
Yeah.
So again, you have a more clearer view of your health and understanding. Why is it that you take Tudca and Q10?
Specifically me, I'm an enhanced athlete. So these help with the clearance of my liver. So I'm taking toxins into my body. So
okay,
performance enhancing stimulants, if you want to call it that.
Yeah.
And so, you know, it takes a certain sort of regulation for your blood, because your blood can clot quite easily when you've got that sort of stuff inside your system, and your liver is going just, you know, it's taking quite a lot of toxins for it. So that's specifically why I take it.
Right.
If you're not enhanced, so I'm just being honest with you, so that there's no, you know, we want to be, you know, that's why I take it. I take those things to help thin the blood out and help make sure that my liver has got a little bit of extra support while all of these toxins from the PEDs going through my system. So would that help, you know, a natural, you know, person or not? Maybe. I'm not too sure. I don't think it would hurt anybody.
Right.
I think it would still be beneficial. It's all natural, so it's just extra support because my body's going through quite a lot of.
What's the Q10 for?
Hang on, let me Google it. I take what my coach tells me to take.
No. Fair enough. That's interesting. So you have yourself a coach?
Yes. Yeah.
I was looking for a guy's Instagram yesterday, and he explained that since he started becoming a PT, he's had a coach every year for 15 years.
Yeah.
Because he feels like he is like literally just having teachers.
Yeah.
Constantly. Is that a thing for you as well?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I've really learnt through my career to be around people that are better than me, and that's always been something that I would invest in. I'd always invest in mentors and coaches, and I always see the value in someone that's got something that I want, and I'd like them to share that with me, or someone that has created something that I want to be part of. And I value the pay to play, you know, like I get it. Someone has worked hard to accumulate a knowledge and a skill set that I don't have, and I can access that through them for probably, you know, a very small amount of money compared to what they had. For example, me, been to university, spent, you know, probably 100 grand so far on courses and education, if not more. So when someone comes to me and they're paying £80 an hour for my coaching services, they're getting 100 grand's worth of knowledge put into their brain for 80 quid. So it's very, very cheap. That's how I perceive the world in that sort of manner. And so, yeah, 100%, I've always had coaches around me, and it's so that I can, and also it's good to have people that have learnt more than me teach me stuff. Now, if only my memory was better, I probably would be able to remember what Q10 done. But sometimes I just listen and I just do what I'm told, you know? And that's enough for me. So
continue, man. So you take your
take my random supplements in the morning. I'll let you know what they're all about, but once I look into it. And you know, I start the day with a high protein breakfast. So something that I find is easily digestible is my Fage yogurt, some blueberries for the antioxidants, and I'll maybe have like a little bit of honey in there so that I've got a bit of flavour. And cinnamon's really good because it's like a natural fat burner. Wow. So I start the day with 40 to 50 grams worth of protein. So this means that I'm in an anabolic state when I wake up. But I'm not taking too much sugar that it sort of spikes my insulin. So I'm trying my best to keep my insulin levels, you know, quite, you know, moderate, which is the opposite to what most of us do. And I can explain that to you. Would you like a little bit of science?
Mate, I'm not gonna lie, I need it because
yeah,
it's so confusing, man. It's just so detailed now for me. I need to try to understand this.
Cool. So the easy way to think about it is that we've got a hormone called cortisol, which wakes us up in the morning, and it's the stress hormone. Okay. And it fires us and tells us get up. And so when we wake up, waking up is the most stressful thing you can do, right? Now, do you know what is the antidote to cortisol?
No.
Insulin, right? And so insulin is raised when you have sugar, right? Which is why when we all wake up, especially if you're, you know, from Paris or France, they love, what do they have in the mornings?
I have no idea.
Croissants, right?
Oh,
they have sugar, they have sweet stuff, they have pastry. And you ever notice that when you're in a rush in the morning, you reach for like a Snickers bar or a piece of chocolate?
Something sweet, yeah.
Something sweet, yeah. And so this is, the body is naturally just trying to calm down the cortisol levels, because once you have the sugar inside your body, it releases insulin, and insulin is the antidote to cortisol. So that is why we have the sugar. So it's totally natural. So, but that sugar spike in the morning doesn't do me any favors if I'm about to train, or if I need to, if I need to use adrenaline, right? So I use adrenaline in my training. I normally train in the morning, right? I normally have a couple of clients and then I go train. So I will train with just basically protein inside my body, so that I haven't really got an insulin spike, and the cortisol is still quite high. And so I'll use that cortisol, that stress hormone, as the fuel to make me lift heavy and go hard.
Okay.
And so then that sets me up. So then what I would then do is, during my workout, I'll then have something called peri-nutrition, which just means having some carbs while you're training. And so then the carbs, the glycogen, will then fill up my muscle, and I'll start to swell up as it sucks in all of the water, and I'll get the pump while I'm training, and it will keep my energy going, and the glycogen will be used as I pump my muscles. Right. So basically start the day high protein, don't have any carbs until later on in the day. The longer you can leave carbohydrates, in my opinion, the more fat burning and anabolic you're going to be.
Okay.
So if you can delay the intake of carbohydrates until the afternoon, then you're going to set yourself up, whoever you are, really, really well. So start the day with a high protein breakfast, anything high protein. Some people like cooked breakfast, so your eggs and your bacon, stuff like that. A steak in the morning, an omelette, whatever it might be. I eat a little bit too, at work it's a little bit harder to get that sort of stuff in the morning. I'll just eat, blueberries and yogurt.
No, fair enough.
So that's like my morning routine. Then I'll get the train to work. So I'm about an hour away from work. So what I'm doing when I'm on the train, this is quite an important thing, because I'm getting my mind prepared for what I'm about to do during the day. Now, it's not every day, but I've found that more often than not, there's 2 or 3 things that I'm saying inside my head and things that I'm going through. So, number one, I don't know if you know about your chakras. Do you know much about your chakras?
I think I've got a book on chakra, the chakra fix right there.
The chakra fix. Okay, brilliant. So, I don't know if you've ever heard of the Lord's Prayer.
No.
So, dear Father who art in heaven, hallowed
be
be thy
yeah,
name.
yeah.
May your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, thank you for this day, our daily bread. Forgive me my trespasses, as I forgive those who trespass against me.
Yeah.
Lead me not into temptation, but deliver me from evil, and power and glory forevermore. Amen. Right. So what that actually is, and this is my shaman friend that taught me that, is it actually relates to your chakras. Okay, so you're releasing the chakras in your body when you say this out loud, and it's giving you like a direct line to God. So I don't know how spiritual you are. I am. So I will do this in the morning. I'll say the Lord's Prayer, and I'll say that. And then another thing that I will do is I'll call forth into existence whatever traits that I need for the day. So, for example, maybe I've got a couple of sales conversations that I have. I'll be like, right, I'll be speaking this out, either out loud, but in my head, if that makes sense. And I'll be saying, right, I command into existence today my best sales version of myself. You're gonna be the best sales version person that you've ever been. Or I've got to do a load of training sessions and say, I command into existence the best trainer. You're going to be the most inspirational trainer you've ever been.
So it's kind of like a bit of an affirmation.
Yeah, a bit of an affirmation. But it's sort of like calling upon what you want to be and calling it into existence.
Okay.
So what an affirmation might be, I am rich, I am wealthy. This is like I'm making sure that I'm having that manifested during the day, and I find that's really powerful. That really works for me. So there are a couple of things that I'm doing internally while I'm on the train, where everybody is sitting there playing with their phones or they're reading a newspaper. I'm going through my sort of setup for the day and setting my state so that I'm ready for what's about to come. Right. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I find that's really important. So then I'll get to work. So here's something that I don't do that a lot of people have been used to, and I was deadly for this, right? Coffee.
I was gonna say
in
that,
yeah, exactly, yeah. So what I've found is that coffee actually robs me of my sleep. I find that if I take it too early in the morning, for whatever reason, there's obviously a load of science out there, and the people that I learnt this off are dead into the science of it. I just try things out. If it works, it works, and I stick to it. Okay. The point being is that I would suffer that night from bad sleep. Like I wouldn't get to bed very rested when I had coffee in the morning on an empty stomach. So something that I do is I won't have coffee. If I'm going to have one, I'll try not to. But I won't have it until I've had some food and it's later on in the afternoon. So maybe I'll have a meeting with someone, and it's just one of the things you do. You go for a coffee with someone, you have a meeting. But what I don't do, which I used to do, and it used to mess up my sleep, is have coffee on an empty stomach in the morning. So if you want to see your sleep improve, I would suggest you just try this one out. Now, you might want to replace the coffee with something that's warm. So, it's England, it's cold. So, I will have a cup of tea.
Okay.
So I've got something warm in my hands. I have a cup of tea, and maybe we'll have one sugar in it, because I haven't got a sweet tooth, but tea's a bit of a manky flavour. I'm not going to lie. Like coffee's a manky flavour anyway. Do you know what I mean? I don't know why people drink this stuff, but
I love coffee, man.
Do you? You love it. You're
coffee.
Colombian though, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so
more recently, I feel like a lot like my dad.
Really,
like, I'm drinking like 4 coffees a day easily.
No way.
Yeah, easily.
And so, do you start the day with a coffee?
I don't need to. No, I wouldn't. I'll just drink water. So because again, I'm like yourself. I get up early. I get up 5 in the morning to go to the gym.
Yeah.
I don't want to make any noise. So I literally just leave the house with my water.
Yeah.
I will have my coffee when I come back from the gym.
Yeah.
And I will have it with my breakfast.
Yeah.
But it's not necessarily that I need it. It's just that for me, it's more like if someone chooses juice or a Coke, it's like for me, I'd much rather have a coffee than water.
Yeah. Fair enough. Okay.
But there is something you said that I've realized as well, is to maybe stop having the coffee in the morning, because I've realized that sometimes going to sleep is an issue for me. So I'm wondering, maybe if I stop having the coffee in the morning, maybe see if it has some sort of effect. Because I guess I never really think about that, like to have that kind of trial and error.
Yeah. Yeah. So here's something that was like something that stuck in my mind, and it was that when you drink coffee, you're robbing energy from tomorrow for today. So that's how I look at it, and that sort of has held true for me.
Right.
It might not be for everyone, but it's held true for me. And if you've got trouble sleeping, that's one of the things you could do. There are other things, and I can go into that with you. What you can do for sleep.
Yeah.
There's a whole load of stuff around sleep hygiene, and also how you're stimulating yourself during the day with light. Funny enough, we don't realise it, but your eyes, they're actually the clock of the body, right? So they're designed to let your body know what the time is. And what it should be doing. And so we're actually messing our body up by having these big fluorescent lights on. Right. Even if you look at that light that's above your head right now, and then you look away from it, you're like a little bit,
dazzled,
you're dazzled. So like that's going on all day long. Like we're just looking at it like that, and it's doing it to us. But it's the same effect. We're just not looking directly at it. So imagine we're like dazing ourselves all day long. So imagine like what effect that would have parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system. You'd be stressed all day, right? Anyway, so that's something that you can look into. So
just be here with the lights off.
yeah, basically like you can change the light bulbs. Now this is stuff that I'm looking into.
Okay.
So if you want to go deeper with this, I'd suggest you look into someone called Dr. Jack Cruz, and he's really, really like at the forefront of decentralized medicine and talks a lot about how the light and the EMF frequencies that are being emitted to us through TVs and laptops and phones is messing with our energy. And so he would say, look, get red light bulbs into the light, and I'd even go to the extent of having like fire, having candles around the house later on, because the body isn't really like, it's dark for a reason, like, and we're creating false light. We're not really supposed to be up until 12 o'clock watching TVs. Like, our bodies haven't evolved to a point. Like, we're creating an alien world for ourselves, ironically. But our bodies still want to be in harmony with
with nature.
With nature.
Right.
Exactly. Have you ever noticed how like you feel really calm when you go on like a beach holiday?
I've found that, yeah. I do find as well when I'm walking a mountain, for instance. A mountain is, for me, my most relaxed place.
Yeah.
I think just because you're quiet, you're around fresh air. It's just, I don't know, it's just the air around me feels like purer.
Yeah, 100%. And probably, have you noticed, would your lifestyle be a little bit different as well? Like, would you be blasting your phone up a mountain or watching a TV up a mountain?
No. I'm like technology-less. Just, if anything, I'll just use it for my map,
Yeah.
But other than that, I wouldn't be listening to music. I'm having a conversation.
Yeah.
Because if I'm walking,
Yeah.
I'm gonna walk up with someone and we're talking.
Yeah.
I kind of feel sometimes when you're in the city or wherever, you're kind of like a bit of a slave to your phone. It's like you've been in a social setting, and for some reason the phone is going to come out in the space of 5 minutes. Someone's going to take it out to respond to a text or whatever. But when you're up there, you have no signal. So you're already free from it. You're not thinking about it so much.
So, I mean, there we go. So you're creating an environment that is EMF free and you feel better. So there we go. There's just an example of what we're missing out on. Right, so back to my day, right?
Yes.
So, right,
Yes.
so my clients, they're all in the gym, and I will be normally running a program that's been written for them. So what's really important for me is, because I've got quite a lot of clients, I have certain programs that they're on and I specialize in. So most men are trying to get bigger, right? They're trying to build a muscle in the upper body, right? So one of the programs that I run is a upper body specialization program, 5 days a week, where they're doing 3 upper body workouts during that 5-day sequence, and the other 2 they're getting the rest of the body in those sessions, but they're doing at least 3 specific workouts for their upper body. Right. So so I'll be running a program for all of my clients, and I'll be writing their weights in, and I'll be taking them through their progressions during each day. So the point that I'm trying to make is that I'm prepared for my clients so that we know what they're about to do. But I'll also ask them, having been in this industry for a long time, I'll be like, oh, hey, where's your energy? Did you sleep? So sometimes they're coming in and maybe their body's a little bit broken and they need a little bit more TLC, which is where my knowledge in biomechanics and in massage might come in. And maybe they're not going to be doing like a heavy bodybuilding workout, but maybe they're going to be doing more like mobility, and I'll be trying to massage them or help their body feel better, so that I can actually change their state from being stressed out to being chilled. Because the thing is that I'm working with human beings. As much as I'd like them all to be coming in with the same state every time, and that they'll be able to do the program that I've got, it's not always the case. So I've found that I need to be adaptable for my clients, but not so much that they are telling me, every week that
you're changing it too much.
I've changed it too much, yeah. So it has to be, I'll give them a little bit, but then, hey, no, we're back to doing what we're supposed to be doing.
Right.
So I'll give them enough TLC that they feel they've been looked after and heard, which is really important when we're in the industry that I'm in. And then we'll get back to business. Okay, so maybe I'll have 2-3 clients back to back, and that will be that'll be quite energy draining. So then I'll maybe go have some food after that, and depending on what I'm doing, so maybe my training might be cardio, so I may be doing half an hour cardio, 45 minutes, or maybe I'll be doing a bodybuilding workout, something like that. But generally speaking, I will stay in just with like protein inside my body.
Still no carbs.
Still no carbs, not until I've started my training, or at least until like the earliest I'd have it would be like halfway through a workout, and I'd have like a fast releasing carbohydrate, something like a Vitago or multidextrone or something like that, which is going to get into the bloodstream really quick. And I will drink that gummy bears. So everyone knows me on the gym floor because I carry gummy bears, right? And they, no. So I'm the PT that gives you sweets while you train. Yeah. So I do get some odd looks every now and again, and maybe I need to change it so they look more performance,
more professional.
Yeah, more professional. But basically, it's gummy bears. Yeah, gummy bears and worms. and so then you'll learn some clients like wine gums, some like the Haribos, some.
Yeah, I think that's where we started. We started on wine gums.
Did we start on wine gums?
We started on wine gums, yeah, and then I think I upgraded to gummy bears. Yeah.
What's your preference? Do you have a preference?
I don't. I find it a bit, because obviously I buy the big boxes just to kind of save on money, but then I put them in little plastic bags. Yeah. And it's such a fucking faff to get them out of my pocket. I'm just there in the gym, just there like, let's try and wiggle them out of my pocket. Everything's just coming out. And, oh god, it's so embarrassing.
All right, so maybe some jelly beans.
Yeah, mate, yeah, something that doesn't stick to my plastic bag.
Well, something that would probably be easier then is, admittedly, that can be a bit of pain, but I hear you. So you could get like a sugary drink. There are carb drinks that you could have. It's a powder. So any type of glycogen that you could put in with your water and mix it. So you could get glucose from Holland and Barrett, and it's a powder. You just put that, and I
think I have been starting to see that a lot in the gym actually. Lots of I saw a guy actually put salt in his
yeah. So when you're sweating, you're gonna sweat out the sodium. Now you're sweating out minerals, right? So you want to replace that. So salt is an electrolyte, sodium. But you actually want a balance between sodium and potassium. So if it was me, I would actually use like a diarrhea. So the little packets you use when you've got diarrhea.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He knows now. Yeah.
Okay, I hear you.
When you had a curry the night before?
Yeah.
Well, the point is that has got electrolytes, and that would have a very well balanced mix of electrolytes in it. So I would have a sachet of that, or half a sachet with my water, and I'd drink that. And that's the same as having salt, because we actually want a balance of salt and potassium, sodium and potassium, because it's the balance between those two that keeps us hydrated. Salt in itself won't just do that. You need the balance. Right. Which is why maybe you might see some people, they would have like a date or a banana with salt on it. You ever seen those guys?
No.
Okay, yeah, so that's what they're doing. They're trying to get the balance of sodium.
I used to, what do you call it? I didn't know how hard you have to train in order to actually need to have something to understand at what level is it. Yeah, this is a good time for you to be taking this because you are training hard enough.
Are you sweating? If you're sweating, then that's
fair enough. Okay,
because it's leaving your body through your sweat, right?
Okay.
So, yeah.
Cool,
That'd
man.
be a good sign. Yeah.
Okay, so
so I've had 3 clients. 4 hours later, I've had 3 clients. I'll have maybe a little bit of breakfast, which will be the protein. So if I haven't had it before I've got on the train, I'll have it afterwards, which will be the yogurt and the berries. Then I'll go train. So I run the same programs that all my guys are on. So I don't really get anybody doing anything that I wouldn't do.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That's which cool. It's good for my branding because it's like I represent what I teach.
Yeah, you're selling what you're doing.
I sell what I do, yeah. And so that's really good for me. So a little bit about marketing, because I know this is about careers and stuff like that. So my body and our bodies, if you're working in our industry, is really the billboard for our authority, right? So I would consider yourself, if you're trying to get into being a PT and you want to be the best, then you want to be an inspiration to those around you. Now, I can only really speak from the world that I live in, which is aesthetic development, looking better. So in my world, I set it about that I want to look the best out of everybody in the gym. Now, that means that anybody that sees me can look at me and go, oh, I want to look like that guy. They look at me and they go, oh, I would like to look like him. How does he do it? So that's really good, because that's what gets people intrigued and might want them to find out a little bit more about you.
Yeah.
So anybody that is trying to get into PT, look like,
look the part.
Look the part. Exactly, yeah. And so then what I will do is, because I don't really I can't do like leaflet flyering all over the place in the gym. So how I advertise myself is I'll train with, a top on that is revealing enough, and I will make a bit of a show of me training so that people know that I'm in the gym and I'm flexing my muscles. And yeah, to some people maybe he looks like he's a bit vain, he's in the mirror a lot, and that's fine, because you know that's part of, you know, the polarization of what I'm doing. I'm not the guy that is going to stand on a treadmill with a client. I'm the guy that's going to make him full of muscle and look great in the mirror.
Right.
So I represent that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I will be posing, and I'm, you know, I'm a bodybuilder, so I'll be doing bodybuilding poses in the mirror, which is great, because then people get to see me, you know, in my poses, and they get to see my muscles flexing. They're like, oh shit, I'd like those. Now, obviously, anybody that doesn't want big muscles ain't gonna be that attracted, but that's great too, because I don't want to train anybody that don't want to get big muscles. So do you understand like why it's important that we go about marketing ourselves in a certain way that I feel it is polarizing, because some people might think it's vain, but the people that don't think it's inspirational and aspirational.
No,
and they're the people that I make money from, in the bluntest sense of the word. And that's what my community is all about. It's about looking great, you know. It's about falling back in love with your body, right? So feeling great with the way you look.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Yeah.
Clear.
Brilliant.
Very clear.
Yeah. So that's essentially, you know, like that's how I go about my business. And then some little tricks of the trade is while I'm training. So anybody that is working in the gym and wants some tricks on building up a client base is when I'm not with clients, then I'm trying to, in a way, market to get more clients. So I'm either just doing like passive marketing, advertising, which is me training in the mirror, or maybe what I'll do is someone will be next to me training and they'll be doing chest or biceps, and I'll go start doing chest or biceps, and maybe I'll work in with them. And a really good thing that I've found is I'll get people to spot me while I train, because everybody wants, no one's an arsehole, everyone will help spot.
Yeah.
But when they start spotting me and I teach them how to spot me properly, and then they can see all my veins popping, all that, it just starts stimulating. You know, even the fact that you're laughing at, you can feel the energy. You're like, all right, Tony's fucking all right. He's serious about his training. So again, that will then open up conversation with, oh, how's your training going then, mate? Oh, yeah, okay, cool. I'm, you know, this is what I do. You know, I work with people, getting them. Do you want like do you want me to go over your current routine? Has anybody give you like a free assessment or reviewed your program? No, not yet. Okay, I'll sort that out for you. So that's basically how I get my lead generation. That's what I do. I don't do advertising on Instagram just yet. As that comes out, there will be some things that we can watch in the pipeline. But at the minute, it's all face to face, right? So if you want to be in my energy sphere, then you've literally got to be next to me, basically. And so that's how I've built my client base. Basically, I've been on the gym floor, and some days I've trained 2-3 times because I didn't have any clients at those times. So another little trick, right? Tip number 2, for all of us out there. So I learned this off a bloke called David Meltzer, okay? And he's like 100 millionaire who made loads of money, lost loads of money, made it back, right? Okay. He's got the rise of the Phoenix, just like me. You know, had it all, lost it all, rebuilt it. And so something that he says, so this is really, really important, right? He said, every day I want you to look at your diary for the coming week, and any empty spots that you've got in your diary, just go fill them up. Just fill them up.
Okay.
And so something that I will do is I'll look at my diary. Now, it's jam-packed at the moment, but any spots that I've got coming up, maybe I get cancellation, or maybe some people are on holiday, I will call around any of my clients or any of those people that I've had in for a review, and they maybe didn't buy, it wasn't the right time. I go, hey, look, I've had a cancellation, it's paid for, would you like to come in for a free session? So just if I called you up and said, Mark, I've had a cancellation, it would cost you 80 quid, it's for free, would you like to come in?
Of course.
Yeah, right, there we go. So now we've got 2 things going on. Number 1, I've give you a really nice gift, right? It hasn't cost you anything, it's been no strings attached, and you've been able to say yes because you don't feel obliged to pay me back or feel like you owe me anything, because I've already said, hey, it's already paid for, it's going to go to waste, I'm in anyway. So it takes the burden off of this, oh, now I owe you sort of feeling, which is, I think, sometimes we create this relationship of reciprocity, right? And so that can mean that if I give you something, you now feel obliged to give me something back.
The birthday present.
Yeah, the birthday present, yeah. And you're like, I wish you imagine you get a birthday present. Oh, mate, I really wish you hadn't because I don't want to get you one. But now I have to give you one. So that's sort of what clients feel like when you give them a free session if you don't frame it in the right way. Because someone will say, nah, you're right. And they would take it, but they just don't want to feel like they're being roped into a sales conversation.
Right.
So I just take all of the reciprocity out of it and I'll be like, no, it's already paid for. So you know, no one's losing out. You know, you don't owe me anything, and it takes that bite out of it. And then it means that you're like, yeah, sweet, that's a nice little freebie. But you still get to have a free session, and I still get to have someone in my diary. And now what that means is that I look really, really busy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So when there's loads of other coaches that are on the gym floor and they're playing with their phones or they're outside eating food or they're not doing anything, right? I'm busy. Everybody is looking and they're looking at me being really busy and looking at the other coaches not doing anything.
Busy, yeah.
Who do you think you would want to train with?
Oh, the busy guy.
The busy guy.
Yeah, of
right?
course, yeah.
Now, no one knows that guy come in for free, right? But in their mind, they're all paying clients, right?
Yeah.
So we're just creating the atmosphere that is required so that you look like you're a busy guy. And now I have people asking me for sessions like, oh, can I book a session? Or just yesterday, the lady said, can I book you in for Monday morning or are you booked out for weeks and weeks in advance? And yeah, great. That's the exact type of statement that I'm trying to make, that I look busy. And that's right. Now, that's perfect for me. So now that means that I can hold my rates, which is the highest in the gym. Do you see what I mean? Because now I'm the busiest guy. So do you think it's fair that the guy that's the busiest charges the most?
Yeah, I think it is fair.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It makes sense, doesn't it? It's logical. Like, I wouldn't be cheaper than people that are not busy, right?
100%, yeah.
Cool. So now I can hold my price. So this is another trick for holding authority and holding a high price. Now, obviously, you've got to be very good at what you do, but this is one of the psychological persuasions that you can have in my game that creates the atmosphere that you are highly sought after. Make sense?
Yeah, no, for sure.
Okay, cool.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so that whatever industry you're in, certainly in a service industry like mine, where people are watching you, just always look busy. You know, and especially I find it even good when I do like free sessions for people where it's like, you know, like a taster session. I'll get them in. Now it's costing me not training someone, so it cost me 80 quid to do a taster session. And maybe they don't buy, that's fine. You know, it's not always the right time or place for people to invest themselves. Maybe they're just, you know, like inquisitive.
I guess it's one of them things you never know.
Yeah, you don't know, but you're planting seeds. This is the great thing, you see. So I'm always just planting seeds, and it's just like some trees, some flowers, they ripen at different times. Do you know what I mean? They bloom at different periods during the year, and so you never know when one might bloom. You might give someone a taster, that, you know, at the beginning of your career, and then 6 months later they're like, oh look, I'm ready to go now. They've seen you, because what we've got, just to put it out there, you've got early adopters, and then you've got the next lot of people that are following the masses. So early adopters are always going to be the first clients that you get in through the door, because they're like, oh, I want to have the new guy. I'll be the one that gets the cheapest deal. Right. But then as you get busier and busier, the other people, they'll be like, oh look, he looks busy. Oh right, well I'm missing out. They get FOMO. So then those guys will start buying from you, and that's great. That's what you want. You want to get loads of early adopters and have loads of people in as quickly as you can. Get super busy, because the second stage buyers, there's going to be even more of those. They're the slow burner ones, but there's more of those that are going to be looking at you and watching what you're up to silently, you know, voyeuring,
yeah.
looking at you,
just
anyway.
looking at you, yeah.
They'll be spying on me, which is why I'm always aware there's like 50 eyeballs are always watching me when I'm in the gym.
Trying to copy the whatever plan that you're doing for yourself.
Yeah, well, this is the great thing. So I'll go around and I'll give my clients specific exercises that no one else will be doing as well. Yeah. So they look special now as well. They'll be doing stuff that no one else does. So that's another little tip, that if you want to set yourself apart from the competition is don't be doing what everyone else is doing. Do something different. So I'll be doing forced reps with clients. I'll be doing heavy sets. I'll be doing rest pauses, cluster sets. I'll be doing, getting mind muscle connections. I'll be getting to do pose in the mirror. So all of this sort of stuff is different to everybody else. Now, obviously, if I was in a bodybuilding gym, then that would probably be quite normal. But I'm not. I'm in a commercial gym where no one's doing it. So I chose where I would be different, but where what I've got would be really wanted. So it's a commercial gym box in North London. So, young city professionals that all want to get in the best shape.
Yeah.
And it's a sort of high-end membership gym. It's not a cheap place to be. So you're already going to have a certain caliber of clientele.
Yeah.
So they're going to be making a certain amount of money because their disposable income wouldn't allow you to pay that membership if you weren't making a certain amount of money.
For sure.
So that also will dictate how much you charge to a certain extent and the type of people you got. So like, I wouldn't charge £80 an hour at a local GL gym. I might be worth £80 an hour, but there's no point in me charging it because no one is going to afford it. And the people that could afford it would be at a different gym because they've got the buying potential to have a better quality of gym,
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so I could take it up on another little notch, which is what I used to have when I had my gym, is it was in a members club where people paid £3,000 a year to be a member, and it was only multi-millionaires that were in there.
Yeah, do you mind just elaborating on that?
Yeah, so a members club is a club that you have to be invited to be to join up.
Oh, is that something like the Ned or something like that?
Like the Ned, exactly. Yes, so Ned. So that was one of the places that I scouted before I had my gym, and I put it in the Devonshire club. Doesn't exist anymore, but the Ned. So just imagine there's a gym in the Ned.
Yeah.
I run that. That was mine. It was my brand.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't the Ned's. It was mine. It was Truth. That was my business.
Oh, wow.
And so just imagine the clientele that'll be at Ned, right?
Yeah.
Everybody that works in bank, right? Have they got money?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So they're going to pay top dollar for a great service. So I should be really either in Mayfair or a little bit closer to the city, but I'm okay where I'm happy at the moment. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's one thing that you could think about in terms of where you position yourself. What in terms of location, if you want to make the most amount of money, set yourself up as the best and be in a place where the money is. So follow the money. Be in Mayfair, be in the city.
Right.
That's fairly straightforward. You're gonna give yourself the best opportunity to move up your pay grades. Even if you start low to bring in the money just to get your business going, eventually you'll be able to charge premium rates and people will be able to afford it. So you wouldn't want to be stuck. You don't want to create a glass ceiling for yourself where, £30 now. For example, when I got back into the career after having sold my PT business, I had a bit of a hiatus and I come back in. And so I just started at my local bodybuilding gym that I've been training at for 15 years, where I've built many clients. But the people that would go to that gym would be more sort of local people, that maybe are blue collar sort of people, right? Yeah. So their pay grade would maybe be £20 for a PT session, 30 quid maybe, if they even sort of thought that it was worth their investment. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You'd find it a lot harder to get those types of people to spend their money because they've got their disposable income is so little that they've got less play. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Investing it in a personal trainer is a bit of a luxury. So unless you can make it so cheap, so it'd almost be for free for those types of people, you're not really going to make that much money, which is, what I found. So as soon as I could, I got into the city and bumped my money up straight through the ceiling and it will keep going up. So this is how your location really, really impacts the amount of money. Now, the thing is maybe I'm starting to reach the peak of what I can charge for members.
So I call the ceiling.
Yeah, the ceiling. Which is why it brings me on to the next thing, which is why, my social media will be building, which is coming up now. So you're going to be seeing lots of exciting things happening with social media, lots of offers and lots of challenges coming up and seeing all the results my clients are getting. And that's really because as you start to top out with what that that community is available, I now need to create a bigger demand from outside.
Yeah.
And so for me, that is where podcasts, radio shows, and Instagram, social
medias and all that stuff. Yeah.
That's the power that I believe that has. And I still like one-to-one stuff, but something that I do is transformation. So that's like a £6,000 product, right? But in 3 to 4 months, if you've got £6,000 to invest in yourself, you'll get the body that you've been dreaming for years. Now, not everybody's got £6,000, but someone that has got £6,000 and has been training, for the last 10 years and hasn't changed the way they look, maybe now's the right time for them to reach out and go, oh, look, listen,
it's worth it.
Yeah, it's worth it. It's for some people that's just, a holiday, you know what I mean? It's not like a big deal, and so that's the thing. It's enough money that you'd want to think about it. But again, there are certainly people out there in the world that £6,000 is nothing to.
Yeah.
Okay, but I think it's fair. I think that's a fair amount of money to charge for a life-changing transformation, and to learn what they would learn from me about their biomechanics, about their body, like what you've been going through, and setting the body up so that it's strong structurally, not just aesthetically. And I think this is the game changer that I bring to the table, is that, instead of you just going for a program that is about weight loss and you looking good, it's also about you being structurally sound so that you don't go backwards and you don't hurt yourself. And I think this is something that's unique that I don't see anyone doing, and I'm really, really sort of excited about the next couple of months once I start launching things.
Nah, that's awesome. That's good, man.
Right, so what have we got up to? We've got up to, like, I've been in work now for 3 hours, right? So just a quick one. I'll go train, do my stuff in the gym, and I'm a bodybuilder, or I'll do my functional training. So I use functional patterns to help stabilise my body, get my fascia trains connected and integrate together, and stabilise, and then I'll go do my bodybuilding to build my muscles. That's it.
How long would you be training during your day of work then? Time wise?
Not 90 minutes. I'd be taking my time, so between an hour and 90 minutes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so maybe I'll do 10 to 20 minutes of functional pattern stuff to get my body in the right connective setting, and then I'll go be doing my training for 45 minutes, something like that. So between 90 minutes and an hour.
So how many clients do you think you see on a daily?
Yeah, so a busy day, because don't forget, like, training for me.
Yeah.
That's basically part of my job.
Yeah.
So, like, Thursday, I had like a 12-hour day, so that was like 8 to 8. So that's like 2 hours worth of my training. So, and I think that would have been 8 or 9 clients that I saw and trained myself. So, if you want some advice, right? If you want to make tons of money, but wear yourself out quickly, do what I just done, which is 12 hours. It's not, to be honest with you, because the game that I'm in is about selling my energy or giving my energy away.
Yeah.
You have to be really, really good at topping your energy back up. So something like that isn't really feasible without maybe like half a day off the next day.
Okay.
Or a day off every week. So I will find that my diary can change because people maybe go on holiday, they get ill, so things like that. But a good day, in my opinion, for anybody in this game will be 5 to 6 clients. You could do that every day, 6 days a week, 7 days a week, and you would have enough time and energy to do the stuff that you want and stay on top of your game. I think once you go into the 7 and 8 clients and above it, and the more often you do that, the less energy you've got for yourself, and it only depletes. So I see the body as like this, like battery, and so every time I go into work, someone's taking a percentage out of me, out of my battery. And so if you think like, if I have 8 clients, imagine like that's 80% of my battery power, right? So it's going to take me an amount of time to recharge that 80%.
Yeah.
And what I found that I used to get into, which was really damaging, is that I wouldn't recharge properly, or that and so what not recharging looks like, if you really want to mess yourself up, is drinking and doing drugs, right, and staying up all night and not sleeping. So that is a good way of you destroying your life and your career. So don't do that. All right, don't do drugs, kids.
I was gonna say, you see, when you say you do have the long days, do you not feel like you drift on certain clients, or do you feel like your mind is always there?
100%. Yeah. I mean, like if you're not careful and you're not interested, it can happen. There are clients that it's a bit like pulling teeth with them, and sometimes you haven't got the energy to deal with their low energy, and so like you could get, you get a bit irritated.
Yeah.
You're sitting there with someone that isn't, they're not listening to your cueing for doing an exercise, or they're complaining about the training that they're doing, or they don't want to lift that heavy weight, and maybe you just go, all right, whatever, just do whatever you want. Now listen, that doesn't happen very often, but if you are tired, then that sort of stuff does happen. And yeah, you're right, I mean, you lower your standard. So this is the key to really hold a premium service. You've got to have your energy at a level where everybody gets the same standard and they get the same level of attention. And no one wants a PT that's sitting there, hands in his head. And certainly do not fucking play with social media when you're with a client, which you can see people doing. They're playing with their phones. I would stay away. If you're that type of person, then you need to check yourself, buddy.
Would you ever drop someone if you just feel like, in your eyes, just not worth it? They're not putting the effort that you ideally want, or you just can't seem to push them further,
Yeah, so I tell you where that is an example. So when I'm doing transformations, which is pretty much everything that I do, we're on a deadline, right? So someone has paid me a decent amount of money to get them in shape by a certain date. And so it's now on me and my reputation that I get you there. And so the types of people that I would give the elbow to and I would let go are the people that just aren't following any of my guidance. So I have had it, and I had it quite recently, where someone just didn't want to follow any of my nutrition guidelines.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, listen, I can't help you improve your weight loss if you're not going to follow my guidelines. And so, to be honest with you, mate, and I was just said, look, either we do this or you keep fighting me on not eating this food, and we don't work together. And they just decided not to work together, and I'm like, great. But yeah, you 100%. I think it takes a lot, because financially that's not good, because you've got to give people, maybe you've got to give them their money back, because you don't want to take someone's money and then they're like, oh, I didn't get results.
Yeah.
You're paying me to get results, and I would rather refund you your money so that I don't have that bad stain on my reputation.
Yeah.
And also, they drain you as well, Mark.
I can imagine.
Like clients that you're constantly having to, almost have this never-ending loop going on. You need to do this, you need to do that, and I'll try every sort of way to get into people's psychology and help them get into the right mindset. But if they're not willing to do it, then there's no point in giving me your money, because you're just not going to get results, and then you're going to be complaining, and then I'm going to look like a crap trainer. So it didn't work out, so that's fine. I think it takes a strong coach to let go of people, and also to be genuine. I know what it's like. I've had coaches that haven't got me results, and I wish they'd just went, look, it wasn't the right time, just take the rest of the money back, just don't worry about it, because that I would have felt a lot better about not getting results with certain coaches.
Right.
And most of them just keep the money. So I've learned to just be a decent human being. And you can have your money back if we're not getting results together. Just have it back. Don't stain my reputation with your bad experience. Right, so yeah, that's pretty much it. And then do a few more clients. So I'll have maybe 6 or 7 clients in a day.
Yep.
I'll be spending 3-4 hours marketing, which will be me training.
Yep.
Me making content, whatever it might be. That's really good. I learned that off Alex Hormozy. So he's
Alex
on the top.
Hormozy, the guy,
Launch, so he's the guy. So he said, look, if you do 4 hours of marketing every day, you cannot fail. So just think about that. Can you train for 2 hours and then do a couple of videos and edit them and throw them up on social media? If you're not willing to do that, then don't be wondering why your business isn't growing.
Yeah.
Makes sense?
100%.
Cool. All right.
100%.
So then I'll have a few clients, and then depending on the day, so here's what I do, which I find is really useful. Now I'm 40, I'm a bit of an old man. So I've done all the partying I possibly could, and I've ruined my energy with complicating it with a social life. If there's one tip I could give anybody, is your social life is overrated. Okay, don't worry about it. Keep your life simple. Work, eat, sleep, repeat, and do that enough until one day you've got enough money that you can take all your family on a 3-week, vacation and pay for everything, and then go back to working. Because I'm telling you, if you're a high performer, the last thing you want to be doing is breaking focus. And socialising is the biggest. It's this false economy that we're all sold, and I think it's like this prison that average people think is like, oh well, I need balance. I'm like, dude, like, look at the balance in your bank account first of all. Like, that's where the balance needs to be. All right, now look at the balance in your health. That's where the balance needs to be. Don't worry about the balance of drinking cocktails with your mates. Okay,
it's weird.
Really weird. Are you a social person? Do you go out much?
No, but I experienced it when I worked at the gym, because obviously it's in it's in the city, and just the behavior, kind of everyone's mentality on like, oh yeah, it's Friday, drinks, Thursday, it's drinks. I'm like, what? Why? Like, what is it about like drinks that makes it kind of like so special? And in my mind, I'm thinking, probably it's like £10 for a cocktail. You guys are just spending money like it's happy days, And I'm thinking to myself, surely there's a better way, like, that we can like be with each other and have a better time that doesn't cost me money and seeing you vomit afterwards.
Yeah. So do you know where I find the people that aren't doing that? They're in the gym. Right, and so if you could be one of the sheeple and you could be getting pissed.
The sheeple.
Like that. Yeah. I don't know who told me that expression, but I think it's really funny.
No, I like that.
You can be a sheeple, or you can just be focused on what you're trying to achieve. All right, and being focused on your health and on building a career. Just those two are enough, and your family. Those three are enough. Don't worry about social life. No one is going to miss you. They're in a pub with all their other mates.
Yeah.
Like, they might say, "Oh, where was you?" But I tell you what, you are going to waste your life away drinking in pubs and in bars and spending your money trying to meet a girlfriend in a bloody nightclub. Don't worry about it. You're going to find her in the gym if you really want to. You'll find her at some sort of networking event. They're the girls that you want, or boys, or whatever you're into. The partner that you're going to find is going to be probably doing something that you're passionate about.
Yeah,
so get
I agree
passionate about something.
I agree.
Get passionate about being the best version of yourself. Self-development for me is the pinnacle of what we should be doing. Right, and so I've got something to share with you. This is really important, okay? We've all been given this gift from God, all right? Whatever you want to call it, universe, God, whatever, we've all got a gift. And what we do with our gift is we squander it, most of us, because we're told that we have to go to work, we have to do this, we have to be social. Now listen, you've got a gift. The best thing that you could ever do is go out into the world and shine bright. I'm sure this podcast is part of you living your gift. Am I right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. There we go. So, can I ask you a question? If you was doing this more and more on your own terms and it paid the bills, would you be living more in your essence?
Oh, 100%.
Right, okay.
This is the reason why it's like, yeah, I have to do this, because this is what I feel is my calling. It's I don't need to be rich off this, but if I can make a living off this, I'm happy. That's what it's about.
Don't limit yourself.
Yeah.
Don't limit yourself. I mean, like, rich and wealth, they're strange concepts. But if you can go, hey, I always found you'll find a way. Like when you're living your gift, I get it now. I got the idea.
Yeah.
And so anybody that is trying to be the best version of themselves in the gym and trying to unlock their full potential, there are things that people don't know. There are things that your personal trainer doesn't know. Yeah. There are things that the internet can't tell you. And I know it all. And you know why I know it all? Because I went around the world and I've learned from all the best. And so I am the accumulation of 20 years worth of experts, all condensed into my East London brain, my being. Yeah. And so now let's go back to the gift thing. I'm living my gift. I'm being my gift, which is inspiring people. And it took me a while to remember. I love body stuff. I just love it. I don't know why. I like learning about it. I'm constantly learning.
Yeah.
Constantly doing, constantly trying to improve my understanding of the body. And even now, I'm learning about functional patterns. I'm having to relearn how to do squats, how to do deadlifts, how to do rows, how to do presses. This is stuff that I learned 20 years ago that I've been doing for 20 years wrong. All right. So now imagine that you're now talking to me, someone that is the top of his game, and I'm telling you that this stuff that I've been doing for 20 years that is wrong. Right.
Yeah,
so now
crazy.
Imagine what crap you've been doing in the gym, and you don't even know half the stuff that you don't even know the stuff that I was doing wrong. You're not even doing the wrong stuff right. right? You're doing it wrong. At least I'm only doing it wrong on the biomechanical level, for your fascia. So imagine that you could now unlock that potential. So that's some stuff that I've got that you ain't got access to, and I'll tell you why. It's because the people that I learned it from are in America. And they don't come over here. You got to go to America to go get the training. Yeah? Do you want to go to America and spend 20 grand to go learn it?
I'd love to, man, but I just don't have the money.
Right, there we go. So you have to rely on me going on it, get me on another podcast and going, Tone, I found 4 people that will pay me £20 a month to get your update on what's new in the world.
Right.
Interested?
Yeah.
Anyway, so we're just spitting some stuff, but anyway, that's an idea for you of what you can take.
Yo, your mind is just...
Mine's going. So the main thing is I think we got to live our gift. All right. And in my opinion, and this is not my opinion, it's also from experience, is that things in our life will cause us to diminish our memory of what our gift is. Right. So life does that. People around us do that. Jobs do that. Everything. Our environment will tell us that we should be something. It categorises us. You should be doing this. You should be doing that. No, what you got to do is spend 30 seconds with yourself in a quiet room and go, hey, listen, if money was no object, what would I love to be doing?
That's what I believe. I believe the same thing.
You believe that too?
100%.
Brilliant.
100%. Yeah.
Good.
It's like, what something you could do that you would love to do that is, if you could do it all the time, that doesn't cost money.
So, Mark, guess what, right? I love inspiring people to fall in love with their body. And between you and me, right, did you get in the best shape of your life?
I am in the best shape of my life.
You are in the best shape of your life?
Yeah.
And before you come to me in the gym, how much did it cost you?
Before I got into the gym, nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Right, so here's the thing. Say, what would I do if money was an object? Money isn't an object to me. I'm very wealthy. So guess what? I get to help people like you for free.
Yeah.
I get to do it for free. I don't make it, right?
Yeah.
So that's the reality, is that I make money from what I do, but that also allows me to help people that, I can do it pro bono.
Yeah.
And I'm not losing anything because I'm living my gift. I'm not losing anything because I gave you my gift. In fact, I'm doing God a disservice by not giving you my gift. Imagine you come and say, Tony, I really need your help. And I said, well, if you ain't got
the money, I can't help you.
£4,000, I can't help you. Which is what most people do. And it's because they're not living their gift enough that people are willing to pay it, so that they are wealthy enough. And this is what I'm saying, is eventually you get to a point when you live your gift long enough that people will pay for it. And then it doesn't matter because you can do it freely. I will do my job if I do now have all the money I need. And if I didn't, I'd still be doing it. Because I still love sharing it. And I think that is, I don't know if there's this word in tech which is called open source. So I think there's an element of your gift should be open source. Your gift was given to you. There's a tale in the Bible. I'm going to get some of it a little bit mixed up. The basic is that the owner of some farm or whatever gave his servants or his helpers a bit of gold each, right? And he said, right, look after this, I'm going away for a year. One of them buried the gold, one of them used it, and had the same amount left, and one of them bought some livestock and it made some money. And so he come back and he said to servant, oh, what did you do with my money? And one of them said, oh, I buried it, here it is, blah blah blah. And the other one said, no, I spent it and then I've got it back. And then the other one used it to buy more livestock and it made him more money. And he said, fantastic. Now the two that didn't make any money for me, what you did is you buried the gift that I gave you. I gave you some money and I wanted you to do something with it. I didn't want you to bury it. I didn't want you to do nothing with it. I wanted you to go out and create more with it. And so the moral of the story is if you've been given a gift, it is your duty to go out into the world and share it. Yeah, because what will come back to you is the compound effect of happiness, serenity, wealth. It all comes with it. They all follow each other.
100%. I agree because I feel like if you're chasing the thing that fulfills you, that you feel is you, it brings the joy, and then you find ways of always making it happen. You know what I'm saying? Like, nothing's stopping you from doing it because you want to do it anyway. Yeah. So it's like, why is money going to be restricting me from doing? It's like, I'm not going to see money for this potentially in a long time, but it's not going to stop me because it's something I enjoy to do.
Yeah.
I like to go back. I like to try to. You said something that I thought was quite interesting. Like, what happens in our life, people start to say things to us, and it starts to dim what we believe about ourselves. So I like to go back to school.
Yeah.
Do you remember what school was like?
Yeah, I do remember what school was like. And so here's the interesting thing is that school is where a lot of our character is sort of nurtured, right? And now the environment that you come from in the family, I think it goes with you when you get into school, and then the experiences that you have to school go with you into the rest of your life. So I think it's very important that if for any parents are out there in the world to implant confidence and inner strength in our children, so that when they go to school they don't have to be people pleasers, or they have to feel that they are less than other people. This is really important, because that's the stomping ground where egos will start moving and shaking, and it's where little kids that are maybe abused will be taking it out on kids that are a little bit weak, and it's where little kids that are told to not have a voice at home, they won't have a voice when they go to school.
How did you feel you was in school? Did you feel you had the confidence?
So now looking back, I was probably the type of kid that was it would look confident, but I was probably confident to mask the fact that I wasn't very confident. And this is the interesting thing, that sometimes what we're projecting into the world is the opposite of what is inside us. We're trying to project. So sometimes when you see little kids that are running around with loads of confidence, they're little shy kids, you know? Or sometimes there's little bully kids that are running around, and they're bully kids because maybe they're getting bullied at home and they're being bullied themselves. So can you see, like, it's a very interesting world to be in as a kid, because you don't know this, but these things start shaping us. So probably I was brought up in quite a strict sort of household. My dad was a boxing trainer. I was brought up as a boxer, and so being told to stay in line and to not step out of line, that was quite important. And I think I was the type of kid that maybe was a little bit unconfident because of that, so I made up for it by being quite jokey, and being maybe a little bit louder, but I also had quite a lot of energy as well. I was always very talented, but I also found I probably wasn't as disciplined as I could be. So, what boxing could have brought to me was discipline, but what it actually brought to me was being oppressed. So what should have been, like, here's how you can be disciplined with your time and energy. Although that's what happened, because of the environment that it was in with my father in the background, sort of like being a tyrant over top of me, it become like a form of oppression. So I fought back against that. So the irony is that I become quite unruly and, I'd
rebellious.
Rebellious, yeah. So ironically, you start doing, so I would do drugs, I would drink, I'd smoke,
What age was this around?
Well, I mean, so I suppose it's really started coming into my own in secondary school.
Yeah.
So 12, 13, that sort of time start, and I remember, trying to be the cool kid, but I wasn't really a cool kid from the street, I wasn't really, like street savvy. There were kids, from the council estates that would be a little bit more sort of rough and ready. And so I'd like hang around with them, but they'd sort of, like rob me of like my money, or, take puff off of me, or, that sort of stuff, and where I thought they were my mates, they would then take that trust and they would use that against me. So I found that was my experience, as a kid, is I was quite trusting. I wanted to have friends, I wanted to be liked, but I also wanted to be cool, and I was quite rebellious. So I'd be around rebellious kids, but I wanted to be liked by them, and they knew that, so then they'd use that against me, because that was their nature, to take advantage of people.
No, that's just, oh man.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, so during that time, secondary school, year 7 to year 9, like, do you remember like subjects that you might have liked at the time? Were you really into like school like that, or not really?
Yeah, I was. Do you know what? I hated bunking because I found it so boring. Like, I really hated bunking. I had loads of mates that bunked. I'm like, well, what else are you going to do?
I
just
love
sit
bunking,
around.
man.
Did you like bunking?
Oh, man, yeah, because the thing is, I'd always go to a place, where I could play basketball or football.
Right. Okay.
I always go to one of these places. So I'm like, I've got stuff to do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's quite interesting. Well, you just literally just like, yeah, you're bunking and you just, yeah.
I liked school. I liked it. I think I'm still a gregarious character. I'm still quite outgoing, and I bounce off of the people and their energy.
Right.
So I quite liked it, and I liked school. To be honest with you, I didn't have any problems. I was a good student, and
so during that time from year 7 to year 9, like, what would you say, like, what was your relationship with teachers and what was your relationship with school?
Good. I was probably cheeky, I was quite witty. So you know, there'd be times I'm sure there were teachers that pull their hair out while I'd be telling jokes, and you know, I'd have everyone in stitches, and they'd be, "Shut up, McCarthy," and I'm like, "Oh, yeah, whatever." My favourite subjects, I think, were art and English, English literature. I really like reading. I'm a big reader. I'm not an artist, but I was quite good at art. You know, I do like graffiti and pictures. I could copy really, really well. I've got a good eye for copying. And sport, which is, you know, funny
Makes
enough.
sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah. So I'd say those ones. Maths never really grabbed me. You know, we did languages like French, never really grabbed me. History, you know, it is what it is. You know, you just learn about old shit. So, you know, whatever. Science. So I was good at science. You know, I've got a degree. I've got a double degree in science. I've got Bachelor of Science degrees. So yeah, I think they were the main subjects really. And I tried getting into music. I played the guitar, but I was a little bit too much of a free spirit to like learn it properly.
Fair enough.
I'd learned how to play guitar, but never really like a song.
Did you have lessons, or was it just kind of like you just picked up guitar?
I did. Yeah, like I did lessons after school and stuff like that. And then like the teacher was just like, "Look, here's some chords. Like play around with that." Like, and that's just how I learned. So I could pick up a guitar and play it. But you know, if you said, "I'll play me a song," I haven't spent years studying music.
Yeah, for sure. I was gonna say, so obviously you had what do you call it, guitar. Was there any other, like, again, because obviously your dad's a boxing trainer. What other kind of extracurricular or like other things that would you do on the side? Like, did you do boxing? I'm sure that you
loads of stuff. Yeah, I mean, so I was doing stuff all the time. So 3-4 days a week I'd be doing the boxing. So that's from 8 or 9 years old. Right, so that was my life. So, you know, an amateur boxer. I was a champion boxer as well. So that's a certain level of dedication that you're required when you're put into the schoolboy championships, which is a national competition. Right. So it's serious. So, you know, at the age of 12, you're dieting. You know what I mean? So So all my clients say, "Oh my God, you got me on a diet." Shut up, bruv. I was doing it when I was 12. Shut up. Just go complain to someone else. Cry. You know, take your crocodile tears somewhere else. Think about me. When I was 12, I was doing that. I was skipping with a bag on, skipping rope in a sauna with a black bag on. Leave it out. You don't know. My
don't know
diet
the struggle.
Was don't worry about it. Listen, whatever you're going through, I've done it more and harder. So shut up. Anyway, so I do that, and then my dad would put me into like running competitions. I'd run for county. I do like certifications in like swimming. So I remember I got like my lifeguard, my bronze medallion, they used to call it. I don't know if it's the same thing. I did football coaching, so I got like my FA manager's badge, and so I did all of that. And then by the time I was like, 15, I was a football coach at the weekend and after school and stuff like that. So, I was, quite busy all the time.
And it was all like sports related, wasn't it?
Yeah, basically, yeah. So, that's sort of, I just carried that. I've carried it throughout my whole life, and there I am saying I love my body. Well, I've been using my body since day dot, basically. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. You probably need to think about what you was doing when you was a kid, because your gift is probably something that you might remember.
I believe that as well.
Yeah,
I believe that all kind of stems from our experiences of life. But so now from year 10 to year 11.
Yeah.
I don't know. Obviously, because you're not that much older than me. I'm 34. So you had your choices in year 10.
Yeah,
right?
GCSEs,
Yeah. Do you remember what you chose?
Science, double science, English.
Well, English you have to do. English and science you have to do.
Oh, you have to. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
PE would be one.
PE was a chosen one. I think it was between history and RE, so I did history. I did tech design. I think it was like art or technology.
Oh,
So I
okay.
did technology just because I thought that would be a bit easier.
How was it?
Well, I was a bit of a blagger, really. So I remember, I remember we had to hand in like the coursework. Oh, that's what it was. It was like coursework based. And so one of them was like material research, and I'd left until the last minute to do the material research. And so the night before it had to get handed in, I've like went round the house and I've picked up like a rubber and I've stuck it to the paper and I went, yeah, this is rubber. It's not good to make a box. And I found a 2p and went, this is copper. This is not good for making a box either. You know, I went and got a pencil. I got a D. I didn't do very well. So. Anyway, so that was my tech design experience.
Oh man, that's hilarious.
That's all I can remember, really. I don't know how many other subjects.
You know what? Actually, teacher wise though, is there any teacher that stood out to you?
Probably there were like a couple that had maybe a bit of an understanding about me and weren't like, oh, he's a bloody nuisance, you know. So maybe like Mr. Titmarsh, who was like what do you call it, like the guy that is your form leader? Is that what you
form
call
tutor.
it? Form tutor. Yeah, so form tutor. So like he was a cool guy. He was a bit chill. He knew the score. You know, his Tony's, you know, whatever. I think some people might have got a bit irritated by my energy, and he was all right. You know, he's just playing pranks and having a good time.
No, fair enough.
He's a kid. So that's probably about the only one really, and maybe my PE teachers. Yeah. Just about it though.
Nah, fair enough. Okay, so now from secondary school, now we're going to go to college.
Yeah.
Do you remember what you picked for college?
Yeah, so basically what happened at my school is at 16, everybody had the chance to go to sixth form for another 2 years.
Yes.
And for me, I was like, no, I don't want to wear a uniform for another 2 years. So I chose to, and I wanted to do coursework. I didn't want to do more exams, right? So I chose to do, and for anybody that is out there, I rate the BTEC. Okay, like the BTEC is a great option if you're not into doing exams. It's like coursework and everything is based on you producing. So I'm like a project sort of person. I like doing a project, you know, finishing it.
Yeah.
And that was me. So I did a BTEC National Diploma at Waltham Forest College. So I went from, you know, I wouldn't call it posh, but it was like in Chigwell. It's called West Hatch, right? So it's like a nice school. Then into Waltham Forest College. So now mixing with, you know, like, you know, a whole different set of people, you know, from completely different economic background, different countries. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so I was like the only white kid in the class. So I'm just putting it out there. Yeah. So like I had to learn now how to sort of fit in with, you know, like Yardies. That's what they were, you know, most of them basically like Jamaican Yardies, you know.
Yeah.
And so so I got into smoking weed, as you do, and you know that was cool. And I did a BTEC in sports science. So I spent 2 years doing that, and I was like the top kid in.
So that was the only thing you did in college then?
No, I actually did. I did sports science, but I also, because I wanted to go to university, I needed to bump my points up. So I also did an A level in English literature. I didn't do very well in it, but it, you know,
Gave you the points.
Yeah, it gave me the points. So I did it as a night course. So basically, I did. My BTEC National Diploma was during the day, and then I did like an A level in the evening, like once or twice a week. I did the A level. So that's what I did to get myself enough points to go to university. Because
what were your parents' views on, like, for instance, at this point, have you spoken about what it is that you want to be doing? Do you know what you want to be doing?
Yeah. So so this is a great question. Okay, because when I was 16, I knew that I wanted to do something with my body and that it would be in sports related world. And so this is my exact thought process. Okay, I had seen how the technology sector, IT sector, had grown, and that people in the IT their wages had went through the roof, right?
Yeah.
And I said, okay, right, well, the health of the nation is on a steady decline. Obesity is going through the roof, and by the time I finished my degree, I predicted that there would be a health crisis, and that the government would want people that were trained in, you know, the body and health to have actual jobs. right? So that's what I was thinking at 16. So I was preparing myself for an epidemic of obesity in 7 years. So that's what I was doing. So when you think about what was my mindset, that was me as a 16-year-old. I was thinking about stuff 10 years in advance. Yeah. Now, do you want to hear the ironic twist of fate?
Go on.
So go through all university, get my degree, right? And then I realise, that there are no jobs for people in government that would do this sort of thing. Right, so then I become a personal trainer. But what I would have done is I probably would have been someone that worked in the healthcare sector, maybe with doctor's surgeries and primary care.
Your mind was kind of like, I want to be working potentially in a hospital, doing studies potentially, doing these kinds of things.
Helping the community, helping people get in shape. And if you go back to some of my beliefs, I believe that health should be for free. I don't think we should be paying to go to gyms. And I think personal trainers should be getting paid like doctors and like nurses. I think it should be a foundation of our healthcare system. I believe that to the bottom of my heart. And if anybody's listening, if Richard Branson or anyone is out there wants to back the future, I've been preparing myself to create a secondary healthcare system for 20 years. And there I believe 100%, and if I could do it, there will be a way of... Just for example, how I was able to help you pro bono.
Yeah.
I think there is a way where we can mix the private sector with the public sector, so that there are. I personally believe that I could create an infrastructure where there's enough money coming in that we could do pro bono work to help the people with less advantages in society. I don't think that your social economic status should stop you from having a healthy life. So that's what I believe. Right, so that gets us back, to where I was at 16. So I was saying this to my parents, and they were like, right, well, go to university because that would be good. That will set you up for having a career. It's a good thing. So I come still from the world where having a degree was seen as a benefit, that you'd come in to the workforce at a higher level.
Yeah.
Didn't happen from sports science, all right? Just putting it out there. Unless you go into like research and working for Bupa, where you're working in a clinic or something like that, or you do physio, you're not really going to get a job with a degree in sports science. Sorry. But if you went and learned how I created money from loving the body, then you will always be able to make money. In fact, loads of the kids that I've had as interns that have worked with me now own gyms and stuff like that. So the industry is great to work in. It's just that it's private sector, and I just feel that in a world now where Ozempic is, everybody's on it. I'm like, right, okay. So I was saying this 20 years ago. Ozempic. So this is the weight loss drug that people take.
I've been hearing about it actually.
Yeah, right. So imagine everything that you went through, right? Yeah. All of the dieting that you went through and all of the training. Imagine that all you had to take was a tablet.
Yes, that's nuts. I find that crazy. But it doesn't appeal to me because I think of, mate, it's just putting something in you that is clearly going to create something that's not good in you, because it's not a natural thing.
It's starving you, right? Now, let's be honest. I've sort of had you on a starvation diet, but we had you in a state of starvation where you was eating and where you was training, right? Ozempic just turns off your want for food. You just don't. You just waste away.
So what, it takes away your appetite, basically.
Yes, that's exactly what it does.
Damn.
Yeah. That's why they just shrink. They shrink. But if you notice that they look emaciated as well.
I've never actually seen. I've never paid too much attention. I've heard about it.
Yeah.
But it's like it's interesting because what does that mean? They're going to be dependent on it then?
We'll see, man. We'll see. It's a bit of a new phenomenon now. I think some people it's messing up with their organs. I think there might be people that have become addicted to it. There are celebrities out there that look really, really ill. If you look at Janet Jackson right now, she looks really, really bad. It's like they've brought in the 90s, like anorexic model look. It's like it's come back in fashion with Ozempic.
Oh wow.
So I can see the benefits of it for people that are really, really overweight.
Yeah.
But I can also see that if you're not creating healthy mindset and lifestyle, it's the environment that you create around yourself that's going to determine your long-term your long-term health. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like something that I do with my clients is that that are struggling. And so I go into their house and I'll help them, you know, we call it agitating. So I'll agitate your environment so that it's not what it used to be. And one of those things will take all shit out of you.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like you can't lose weight as someone that is used to eating crisps. If you've got loads of crisps in the cupboard, it's just not going to work.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things that you've got to do. You've got to try and create an environment that is conducive of you to lose weight.
No,
and so you just don't have that stuff in the house, right? You know what I mean? Like, yeah, that's it basically. So you're not doing that with Ozempic. You're not changing your environment. You're not creating behaviour change. You're not. You know, there's nothing going on neurologically. You're just taking a tablet. So you're still the same fat, greedy person that you always was. You're just skinny. So if you stop taking the tablet, you're going to go back at some point.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, so for me, it doesn't really make sense. You're creating a dependency, personally. That's the way I look at it.
Potentially.
It's like paracetamol. Every time I'm feeling a little bit ill, I'm going to take it. And I feel a little bit hungry, just take the pill.
Yeah, exactly. And so now you've swapped a bag of crisps for a pill.
Yeah. But how long... I mean, I don't know anything about it again. So what is it like? You take one every
whatever the
4 hours
prescription is. There's doses that are lower or higher.
Man, that's crazy. I had no.
Yeah.
I mean,
It'll reduce your appetite.
That's nuts, man.
And then the weight loss can be quite severe. So if you don't do the training with it, you know, and you're quite big, then you're going to get all the stretch marks, and you know you're going to get the loose skin. So that stuff comes with it. That maybe if you trained yourself down and dieted a little bit more. A bit more strategically.
There's just no learning. I think that's what I see. I think when I was on the 800 calories that you made me do, I learned a lot.
Yeah.
Because I'm learning, okay, what foods can I have? You know, what I'm starting to just look at calories on everything because I'm thinking I need to reach the 800. So what's that? And then I kind of create a little plan for myself, and then I'm fine. You know?
That's it. Yeah.
And then obviously now as this increases again, it's relearning everything. Is okay. How much can I have of this? How much can I have of that? How much can I have of that?
Yeah.
And I think like it's a really positive way of doing things because I'm learning.
Yeah.
As opposed to if I'm taking a pill, it stops me from eating, but at the end of the day, I'm not learning what's good for me, what's not good for me.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Right. So basically, 16 years old. Yeah. So I was like, right, we'll go to university. So to go to university, I need to get these this like BTEC.
Your BTEC and your A level.
And my A level. So did that. Really enjoyed it. I looked at 2 universities: Loughborough University, top sports university, and St Mary's. So 2 of the top sports universities in you know, Europe, certainly like the UK, and Loughborough was great. And then I went to Twickenham, and it was just really nice. Do you want to hear the funny little story?
Yeah, go on.
So I love my mum, okay, and so I went there with my mum, and my mum is she's a bit OCD about her coffee, right? She lived in France, so she likes her coffee in a certain way. Okay, so we walk around the university, blah blah blah. We've finished, and I take my mum for a cup of coffee down, and this is Twickenham. Okay, so it's lovely, but I don't know it from Adam. So we go to a nice bar on the riverside, and long story short, they brought my mum a coffee in a percolator, and she said I really like it. And so basically what made me go to St Mary's is the fact that my mum could get coffee. My mum was that, because she hates bad coffee, so that's it. That's part. I mean, it was a great university anyway, but that's what swung it for me. Is that I thought, right, well, if my mum can come down and have a nice cup of coffee, this is the place where I'm going to go.
Yeah, fair.
So that was it, really.
No, fair enough, man. So how long was your degree?
So it was a 3-year degree, and I took 4 years because I deferred a year to go work as a football coach. And
that's the sandwich year or something like that it's called.
I mean, a sandwich year is when it's part of the course. It wasn't part of my course. Okay. I just deferred a year. I did 2 years, and I didn't pass the second year for reasons I could talk about them if you want. I was smoking bongs every day. You know, so you know,
you need more focus.
You need more focus. Yeah. So if you want to mess up your degree, hang around with a load of stoneheads. All right. Good. Which is what I done. And I just didn't. I wasn't on the ball. I didn't go to lessons, and I didn't pass it. So I deferred a year, and I went into football coaching, and I worked with a couple of organisations, a local charities, Twickenham Youth Club, So they went and got like a funding, and like basically the funding paid for me to teach them football. And then another couple of football companies that worked with like kids, like 5-year-olds, like toddlers. So I would go around London with a sack of balls, and I'd teach like 5-year-olds how to play football. And I'm gonna teach them how to play football. I'm not babysitting them, and then I do like parties as well at the weekend and stuff like that. So football parties. So they were fun, and that all goes back to what I was doing when I was at home. I was a football coach, and I used to run football teams, and I used to do after school football clubs. So that was just an extension on from what I was doing 5-6 years ago when I was a teenager. So then I decided to get off the puff, and my cousin said, look, come to Southend, stay with me, get off the path, go finish your second year, and go finish your degree. So I go to my cousin's. I stopped smoking weed. Like, there's not allowed, no drinking, no anything like that. I lock myself in a bedroom, go to the library, and I basically smash out my entire second year degree in like 2 months. Basically, I do all the coursework, and I study for all the exams, and I do the exams. I pass it. So, by the way, if I can pass a year's worth of a degree in 3 months, we're probably spending a little bit too long at university. We could probably do a whole degree in maybe 1 year. Just putting it out there. We're getting robbed of 2 years. Okay, so then I go back to university, and that was my best year. So it was my third year, but it took 4 years to get there.
Okay.
And then I found a place to live with some just random people, and we all lived together, and we're still best mates now. And that was the year that was really fun, because the years before that weren't so much fun for me. Like the first year of uni, I lived in halls, which was like in the building of university, and like I was just a rebel from London, and they were all like Surrey kids.
Oh, okay.
We did not get on. I took bags of pills down there and bags of puff, and like I thought the idea of uni is like it's party time.
Yeah.
Right? No, man, St Mary's is not party time. It's for a bunch of like straight laced Surrey kids that are all into rugby, and
right.
They're
looking at you like,
drinking real out, and I'm like, what? I'm like into Stellas and puff and ecstasy, and so like I was like, what am I doing here, man? So basically, I got kicked out of halls with about 3 months. Had to go live at a local house,
Right.
So I've got a whole story about that first year, man. That was mad. I wasn't allowed on campus for 2 weeks, and had to stay on my mate's floor in his university halls because he went to Kingston, so he was around the corner. So I had to live in his halls of residence for 2 weeks while I found somewhere to live. So that was really tumultuous. And then I just carried that on into my second year. I found somewhere to live, and they were all dickheads in that house, and they didn't like me, and I didn't like them, and I was just smoking a lot of weed and squandered a lot of my time. But I think that was because the idea that I had of uni was, right, it's party time, and it was a sports university. One of the people in my classes was Mo Farah, right? So that's
really,
yeah.
No way.
Yeah. So Mo Farah was in my year, and I didn't know who he was at the time.
Yeah.
It was only afterwards, when he became famous, and people were like, oh, well, he was in. I was like, oh yeah, I remember him actually, yeah. But I mean, he's not like a friend of mine or anything like that.
Yeah,
but
just a guy.
Just saying, that was the standard of university or college that I was in. So we had Mo Farah there, and I don't know if you know Joe Wicks as well, the
Joe
body
Wicks.
coach.
Joe Wicks, yes, I got him there.
I've got him there, so he went to my uni as well.
No way.
Yeah, so they're two, there he is, Joe Wicks, leaning 15. So he went to my uni as well.
Mad.
Yeah, so basically we need to talk about, should I be famous? Yeah, 100%. If those two dudes went to my uni, I should be well and truly on my way.
I've started to have that myself. It's like some people as well. It's like, wait, we went to the same school, was in the same play. Why are you guys famous? Why am I not famous? What's happening?
What's happening? Yeah, we're just late bloomers.
Yeah, exactly. Respect the process. That's what it is.
Yeah.
No, fair enough. Okay, cool. So you're out of uni now.
Yeah.
What's your mindset in terms of finding a job?
Yes.
What's the first job you get after uni?
So essentially, I was coming at it. Yeah. So I'm trying to look into what sort of jobs will be available, and basically, it was working. You had to get a certain degree to work for Bupa, which would be in like science labs.
Okay.
That's what my degree would get me. It would be like, so my degree is like sports science, health, nutrition, exercise. So part of it is science, and then another part of it is social. And I really liked the social, the bit in the community. So there was things that I set up in the local community, like local health schemes for the families and kids at the youth club that I ran and stuff like that. And so that's what I thought there would be available. And then there's something called PCT, Primary Care Trust. So that's the route that I was looking in. But you basically, to work in the Primary Care Trust, you'd have to have a master's, which is another year at university, which I wasn't prepared to do. And it's another 10 grand, which I definitely wasn't prepared to do. And you'd also have to work for basically free for a year, something like that. So it basically wasn't on the cards. So the only type of job that would have been half suited to my aspirations wasn't doable, right? So, high five to everybody working out in their primary care trust. So basically, well, then what I had to do is, what type of jobs are available? And it just was personal training. It was like, right. And so then that's how I got into personal training. I was like, right, just, looked into jobs.
But to get into personal training, did you not have to do another course in itself to become a personal trainer?
No, because my degree, because of all the sports background and everything, put me at like level 7. So like you only need to be like level 3. But I mean, there are gyms that require you, that they will ask for it. They'll make you go do a PT course. But my background and my degree, my double degree that I've got, put me in so high that they were like, yeah, fine. But ironically, I didn't really know anything about personal training. I just was sort of winging it for a lot of the time. So if you are, trying to get into being personal training, I probably would recommend do a personal training course just so you can learn a little bit about the trade. But I suppose how I got into it was working with a brand called LA Fitness. And what they had within inside LA Fitness was like a PT incubator, which was like you went on a course through them.
Oh, okay.
Where they sort of developed your skill set as a salesperson, really. Like, how do you make money, in this environment that you're in? Because, by the way, you're going to have to give us 500 quid next month. And then you're going to have to give 700 quid next month, and then 1,000 quid the next month. Okay. So how our industry works is that there are some gyms that will pay you like, 15 quid an hour to work for them, and then maybe you'll do some personal training hours that maybe you'll get 30 quid for. Whatever, 25 quid. And there are some gyms where you pay them rent, and you're like a self-employed business. So that's the route that I started in. It was I need to go on the gym floor, recruit clients, solicit business.
So what, you chose the rent way then?
I chose the rent way.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I chose the rent way. I chose the hard way straight off the bat.
Nice.
So so I threw myself in the deep end. But by doing that, you learn pretty quick.
Yeah.
And, I like that. I was with some really knowledgeable people, and I was really happy to be around people that knew more than me as well, because they showed me the ropes and, encouraged me to, do a bit more boxing that I was good at. And, I set up like a little boxing club, and, I got to be entrepreneurial when I was in that. So that was a really good space. I put my posters up, and, I had...
How old were you here?
So 21, 22.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I was doing that, and yeah, that was really fun. And then within about a year, I had a client who he basically went off to LA, right? And so he was like, "Oh, Tone, look, I'm going to LA. You can come with me. I'll pay you to be my coach out in LA. You can stay at my gaff." Now I'm like 21, 22. Okay, so I'm a likely lad, from East London, basically, a bit of a geezer, and I've had a bit of a rough time. Just sort of got into the industry. I don't know, I was 23, something like that. And so he's like, "Come to LA, live in my gaff, and I'll pay you, to train me."
Holiday. God,
for 6 weeks. So that's what I done. I buggered off to LA for like 6 weeks. So I broke up with my girlfriend, and I ran off to LA, and I had the time of my life. It was wonderful.
Man, I can imagine.
Yeah,
that sounds amazing.
Yeah. So that's what I was doing. It's like
what did you know what he did? Like,
yeah. So basically, Tesco's was setting up. They were expanding into America. It didn't work out at all. Right. It's called Fresh and Easy, something like that. And so he was part of, I don't know, like recruitment or something like that.
Fucking hell.
So like a whole bunch of people that work for Tesco's went out to America to set this up because it's an English brand. I don't think it worked very well.
Yeah.
I don't think it worked.
But still, I guess he had a nice position, nice salary to be able to offer that to you. You know.
Yeah, right. And you know, I was, you know, it was enough that I was happy. Like he was paying for the food, and you know, the rent was on the apartment was.
It's all paid for,
business,
yeah.
and the flights are paid for. So for me, it was like, you know, a free holiday, and I get paid to go over there, and I train him a little bit, and then I was in the sun, and I got some good experiences. We can have the Patreon version one day, and I'll tell you all about that because that's a whole nother level. But so that was really fun. So yeah, you know, 20-year-old, you know, flying off to LA, that was fun.
So you come back now.
How's
the mindset?
Mindset is, right, what do I do? So I just needed some money because I was skint, and I knew that the game that I'd just come out of, the personal training, it takes a while to get your money back.
Yeah.
And I didn't have a penny. So I actually got a job working. I did a couple of little bitty jobs, but basically I got a job because I've got a degree. When you've got a degree, you can actually get some city jobs.
Yeah.
So one of them is recruitment, right? I'm just telling you, like, recruitment is where degree people go to, like, basically die. Like, it's where your degree, basically just having a degree gets you the job, you know, it gets you in the door, all right?
I guess, to be honest, this is a question to me. How do you feel about, like, your degree? Do you feel like it's been useful to you?
It was, because I learned a lot, which I'm still interested in, like sports psychology, about health, about social health, things like that. So I found it really useful. But I've had to continue my education to be more knowledgeable in what I know now, which is the body,
I can imagine.
dieting. Like, I think you could do a degree in what I know now. I could probably do a degree in biomechanics, which is usable. You know, a lot of like kinetic anatomy that they done at university wasn't that useful. You know, like, it didn't have much application. So I think where I think maybe degrees might have to go is that they have a bit more of a commercial viability, because what I mean is that you can take that skill set and make money from it straight away. Right. Like, you can't make money from a sports science degree because there aren't any jobs for that really, and the ones that are, you need to have like an honours with, and you know, I got a 2-1, so that's like a C basically. Like, it's like, oh, you had a good time at uni, didn't you? that's what that was.
No, I think a 2-1 is more like a B, isn't it? It's like you have your first and then you have your 2-1.
Is it? Okay.
I think so. Yeah. So it's really good.
Well, yeah. Well, anyway, so it's a B or C. Basically, put it that way. I've got the. Oh yeah, I got the party one. So yeah, I mean, look, I liked it. I liked the experience. I would send my daughter to university, but I probably would send her with no expectation apart from her to have, you know, an experience that is university. You know, I'd probably still put her through, you know, her own training within my company, and, you know, let that do the talking.
Right.
But who knows? Maybe she doesn't want to go uni anyway. Maybe she doesn't want to work for daddy either.
It's a tricky one. I don't know, because I look at it sometimes. It's like, it's a bit of it feels sometimes that a degree is just necessary in order for you to just be able to apply for a job. Do you know what I'm saying? So I have a dislike of that, because I don't like the idea of, okay, cool, I'm gonna do, you know, a degree, not necessarily because I'm interested in it. It's more because this is the next step in order for me to get more or less paid well.
So I've got a tip for you, okay, and it's called portfolio. All right, and in my humble opinion, what I go around and what I now encourage all the young people around me, that, you know, my assistant Layla, who's an absolute star, what I'm saying to her is, build your portfolio. If you want to get into marketing, use me as a case study.
Yep.
Because you're going to do a crash course in real life marketing, and then when you want to go to a job, you don't have to have a degree, because you can show them.
It.
Yes.
Yeah.
So portfolio. So I think, in my honest opinion, do absolutely anything you can for whatever money you might be able to get it for, and just create portfolio.
I agree.
Do five commissions, get 5 commissions for whatever. Just build up your experience and your skill set, because hands-on experience is going to far outweigh what a degree will be able to give. And I think we're in such a fast-paced world now that me as a business owner, I don't care. I don't care whether you got a degree. I want to see whether you've helped someone make money or not. Like literally, that's it. I'm employing you to help me make money. I can't pay your wages unless you can demonstrate an ability to generate money for me down the line. Literally, that's it. Like I want to be honest as a business owner, and I'm happy to sort of maybe fund some of your learning, but don't get me wrong, when I give you a project to do, if you've never done it before, like I could go on Fiverr and get that project done, for someone that's Indian for, a tenth of the cost of paying for your education. So bet your bottom dollar that you better go learn how to do that shit real quick
100%.
And be good at it. And don't expect to be paid, because what I'm doing is I'm giving you opportunity to learn for free, because I'm giving you the challenge. Now, this is what we're not getting. You're not getting that at university. You're not getting the challenge of, hey, learn this and apply that so that you can see that it works. I will give you the ability to go learn a skill and see whether you can get good enough that you can charge for it.
Yeah.
How else are you going to test it out? What, you think you're going to go pay a college to do a degree that's 10 years old already? Nah. Don't worry about it. Go work with someone in an industry that you'd like to work in, and I would say go be an intern for as long as it takes and prove yourself. It's what I said to Layla. I said, listen, how you provide value, how much value you provide is what's going to get you paid. So I said to her, look, I'm going to give you a certain amount of money, right? And I'm going to pay you up front. Because what I want you to understand is that money is very easy to get hold of, but it's very hard to keep. So I want you to now go away and provide £300-500 worth of value for me. Okay? Because guess what? If you provide £500 worth of value for my business, are you going to get another whack of money off of me? Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So anybody that wants to get into a career and they've not got the experience or not got a degree, go say to someone, hey, look, I want to get into marketing. I don't think you should do it for free, but you're gonna have to find someone that likes you enough that they will get you to do it for an amount of money. Now, if you're a bit older and you've got bills to pay, this is going to be a bit harder. It's going to have to be a hustle, all right? 100%. Because I'm not going to lie to you, I'm going to pay you £10 an hour. Like £15 an hour maximum. And in fact, I'm not even going to pay you per hour. I'm just going to give you a bit of money and see what that gets me. And then I'm going to give you a bit more money and see what that gets me. And if I stop getting more than what my money's worth, I'm going to stop giving you money. Yeah. That's exactly how a businessman thinks. So if you can get that into your head that I need to go provide so much value that I become irreplaceable, then that's a really good place to start. So get so good at what you do for someone that they have to pay you, and that they would lose out on not paying you. Does that make sense? Don't go into something going, oh, right, well, I did 5 hours and, I did 6 hours and that was an extra hour. Nah, that ain't going to work, mate. Listen, I want you to go into a job, get paid 50 quid and provide £500 worth of value for that person, and do that long enough that then you go, right, we've been doing this a month now. I'm thinking about reducing my hours at the coffee shop. What would it take for me to make £200 a week from you? And I know what it would take. If someone wanted to make £200 a week, I know what it would take. You got to help me make, £2,000. Literally, like I will show that to you. Can you create £2,000 worth of social media content? If you can, I'll pay your bills. You want £1,000 a week? Great, go make me £10,000. Literally, because that's what needs to be done. If you can't do it, no worries. The opportunity isn't there. But if you can go and provide someone with enough value that they need you around them, and that getting rid of you is more expensive than keeping you and paying your wage, then you're going to set yourself up for success. Yeah, so
100%.
That's where I live, and that's my Tony's top tip for today.
I like that. No, I definitely agree with that. Okay, we've gone to LA.
Yeah. You've
come back. You are now working. Where are you working now?
Yeah, so I did the recruitment.
Oh, yeah, you did it. How long did you do that for?
Oh, mate, I was like in and out. I was crap. Okay. I was useless. All right. So I learned very quickly, desk jobs ain't for me.
Okay, cool.
And I left that in 30 seconds and I got another job at Virgin Active. And so that was a slightly different role. So anybody that is getting into being a PT, and you want to dip your feet into it, I think Virgin Active is a great business model, because they will give you PT hours. So you'll get paid crap money, but you'll get paid some money. All right. Yeah. So you're not stressed about it, and then you can build up your PT hours.
That's that called in sales. You have like your flat rate, don't you? And then,
and then you got your commission.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah.
So you'll go sell personal training, and you'll get maybe £20 commission for those, and eventually you'll be able to build up your PT book, and they'll stop paying you, like your fitness pro money, and you'll be like a personal trainer.
Right.
So that's a really good model. Another top tip in my industry is starting a corporate gym, because you're going to be able to hone your skills. You're going to have a market to market yourself to. You're going to have footfall, which is what you're not going to have if you go out on your own and you're self-employed. Okay, so you need to always make sure there's loads of footfall, which is what social media is. It's like it's footfall. So go to a gym where you've got loads of footfall, so that you can start bringing in some business. All right, that's a really good way. And then if you want to be cheeky, once you've built up your business, which is what I done at Virgin Active. So I'm at Virgin Active now. I've built up a client base over about a year and a half, and now getting itchy feet, and I need to make some proper money. So I basically go up and set up a company called Stronger, Fitter, Faster. I go set up a boot camp out in London Fields. So for a month, I'm taking all of my clients to this London Fields, doing a boot camp, right? So I said, right, I'm going to do a boot camp. It's going to be free for a month. You're going to come down every Saturday, run around with me. After that, it's going to be, I think it's like £5 an hour that I charged them. And then those that were doing personal training, I went and found a bodybuilding gym, the one that I was talking about, Legends. And I was like, right, okay, so you buy yourself a membership, and now instead of you paying the gym £50, you just pay me like £35, £40. Okay, so now I'm making double money, and they're getting £20 discount. Would you come over? Yeah, you would, because you've got to a point now where you're only going to the gym to be with your coach, because he's getting the most out of it. And by doing it like that, you've actually started to build a client base of people that can afford your services. Okay, as opposed to going to the cheap gym off the bat and trying to build it up from their clients. You want to find like wealthy clients and take them to a cheap gym and get them to lower their gym standards, so and really get them to want to stay with you as a PT. So that's what I done. So then I had a boot camp that was very successful that I run, which was outdoors, and I used to train people, at gyms. So for a little bit, I'd go get a membership at like Fitness First, or I'd get a membership at some other gyms, and I'd train them where they were, and then eventually I could have enough business at just one gym that I didn't have to move around town. Then I had like 5-6 clients in the one gym.
I was thinking, I think is that how we met then?
Yeah. I think so. Yeah. No, did I? I did. Yeah. I didn't work at that Virgin Active.
No, you didn't.
I was just training there. No, so you met me. So once I've been doing that for a while, but I was like now out of where all the money was. So I took all my clients to Legends, which is now in Dalston.
Yeah.
But now I need to start upping my skill set. So now I get back into the city, right? So I get back into the city and I start working with the best coaches I've ever worked with in my life, Tony Chin and Margaret Pope, and it was at a gym called Body Studio. So now I'm like to my clients, right, I'm going to be working at Body Studio. Come with me down there. It's going to be a nicer gym. And my rates are going up. It's not going to be 30 quid anymore. It's going to be 50 quid, but it's going to be a nicer gym. And so now I go there and I start learning more about functional training, about how to look after the body, about how to release tension. So, now my skill set as a coach is going through the roof. I build up a really good client base there. And you met me because what happened is I was like, right, I want to work with entrepreneurs and CEOs. Right, I need to have a certain type of service, and it was called a transformation, body transformation, right? Which is it's where you're going to make the most money in our game, right? Which is where you're going to put someone through a 3 to 6 month challenge where they're going to get in the best shape of their life, but they're seeing you 3-4 times a week, and they're getting all the bells and whistles, all right? Which is why it costs $6,000. It's a whack of money, but you're training with them. You're focused 100% on 4 or 5 clients at a time, basically, right? So you met me at a time when I was like, right, I need to go, look the part. So I was like, right, what do I need to do? So I was like, right, I'll go do a bodybuilding show. And so you met me when I was getting it ready for a bodybuilding show. My first, which was Miami Pro. Yeah. So that's what I done. So because I wanted to do cardio in the morning and I needed to train a certain way and stuff like that, I needed a membership at a different gym. The one that I was at, it was like a PT studio. It wasn't really, for me to train in the way that I needed to, I needed to. So that's where you met me. So I went and got the best membership. And the reason why I got a membership there is because a friend of mine from Virgin Active, from when I used to work at Virgin Active, got they used to have a deal where friends and family got like a certain sort of discount or something.
If you worked there,
something like that. So it was a really good deal. Virgin Active, that was a great thing where friends and family got like a membership. So she gave me a membership, and I might have helped her out with training. Anyway, long story short is I got like a half price membership. Right, so you've now got me. So I'm at Body Studio, right?
Yes.
And I'm like now honing my skills to a high degree, and I've gone and done an entrepreneur course, Key Person of Influence with Daniel Priestley. And it's all about niching down, understanding your market that you want to work with, and becoming an authority, like becoming a key person of influence. So I know that I want to work with CEOs and entrepreneurs. I'm interested in business, and so that's what I do. I start sort of setting the tone that this is like a product for those types of people. It's going to get you results. CEOs, entrepreneurs, they want to get results, they want to see them, and they've got the disposable income. So it all sort of fitted in.
Yeah, it works.
And that's when I invited my cousin Cameron to come down and work at the gym, and so me and him started working at the gym. And then after a little while we was like, right, we should maybe join forces, and because he got into transformations too, and he saw the money that could be made and the potential, and we both enjoyed that energy of working with entrepreneurs and high level. And so we was like, right, we need to go branch out and do our own thing. And so my thinking was, right, go where the money is. So I thought, right, how do we do that? Well, first of all, setting up your own gym is going to cost 80 grand just to get the ball rolling. That's starting off, right? So yeah, that's what I done. Yeah, we didn't have 80 grand like that. So I thought, what's the next best thing? And it was an even better thing. It was just, so what I decided to do is go look at all of the places where there was already a gym, but that it wasn't being utilised. So they are in hotels and members clubs. So I went around all of the members clubs in London and all of the hotels, which are normally the same thing. Members clubs and hotels are sort of converging in the same space.
Okay.
And so you ever noticed, like, they're really nice. They're like the high-end hotels have got really nice gyms and maintain. And some of them basically don't have anybody working them. They're just basically empty spaces that aren't being utilised. So I had a aha moment. So I was like, right, well, why don't me and you, Cam, we go pay rent for one of these spaces where we're going to be around the clientele that we want, provide the level of service that we want, which is like high end and a really nice place. And so that's what we done, and we ended up finding a place called the Devonshire Club, which was in Devonshire Square, Liverpool Street. They had a manager there who was working, and we went and saw what they were doing. It was shit. And so we literally had a pitch, and we said, look, me and him, we're looking to set up our own facility. We've got 10 high-end clients. They'll all become members of your club. So they're all going to give you $3,000 each straight off the bat. Okay. We're going to buy 5 more for some other members. So you've got another 15 grand coming in straight off the bat. And we will pay you £2,000 every month for the benefit of being in your place. And their jaws dropped. And they went, yes, please, thank you very much. Sign on the dotted line.
Damn.
So we was like, brilliant. So, but obviously what happened is they had some people that were already working there. So there was a transition period where one of them had to basically, find a job. So he wasn't happy about that because they were paying him 30 grand a year to run this gym. And we're like, what? Listen, I'll give you 30 grand a year to run the gym. How about that? So this is how my brain works. You imagine, like, but that's because no one knew what they had. So they were sitting on a gold mine from my perspective, but they didn't know how to use it properly. So I was like, listen, if I've got a captive audience, which is a members club full of multimillionaires, then I'm going to make some money over here. 100%.
Facts,
right?
Yeah.
So follow the money, follow the money. So now I'm in the Square Mile. I'm in probably one of the fanciest members clubs, and now my brand Truth is up on the wall, stenciled on. This manager is gone, and within like a month now we're marketing through their email list. We're bringing our clients in, and slowly over time we grew the company where I had 3-4 coaches working for me.
Oh god damn.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was like, considering it was a small gym, it was busy.
We made it busy. Yeah. Yeah,
amazing.
we made it busy from our own contacts and from people that were members of the facility.
So this at this point is what you're probably charging your highest rates then.
Yeah, so it got to a point where some of my clients were paying like £150 a session. And just to give an example, I had 5 clients that paid me 30 grand a year up front.
Wow.
Yeah. Now, don't forget, I've got a big business to run. There's loads of costs involved. But that's the sort of money that can be tapped into in London. There are people that have that sort of money. Now, what I did for that, is another question. But it doesn't matter. There were 5 people that had 30 grand that they're happy to spend up front on personal training services in whatever capacity. That's good money. That's real good money. And so now I'm running a business where I'm turning over 30, 40 grand a month. So now I've got like a £500,000 personal training business. So I went from a geezer 5 years ago who's running around the park for £5 a session to now making £150 now. I've got all my coaches working for me and I've got to find 40 grand a month. Pretty cool, huh?
What was that like, man?
Great. It was amazing. I was
amazing.
Flying high. And so I was doing all of that. I was training my coaches up in my style. I created like a formula, the age rejuvenation. Yeah. So, all right. So let me get you a little bit back to the branding, okay? Because it's really important. So one of my clients is a multi-millionaire, right? Worth 140 million, 200 million. Something incredible. And we was just crossing the road. And I'm always asking people for their advice or just talking to them about what their thoughts are. And he said, in passing, Tony, if you could create a pill that would make me 10 years younger, I'd give you £1 million. Boom. That was like an aha moment for me. And I said, fuck me, that's what I'm going to be doing. Right? So I went and created age rejuvenation. Makes you look, move and feel 10 years younger. Yeah? So I coined it. That was mine. That was my product. So then I went and sold that to all the millionaires. And it did. It worked. It wasn't a pill, but it was the closest thing that you could get to a pill. But it was only because I had that chance meeting with a guy and I was listening, walking across a road, and he said, Tone, if you could create a pill that would make me 10 years younger, I'll pay you £1 million. And so, ironically, this is probably what Ozempic is, and it's a lot cheaper. So, Henry Smith, if you're out there, Ozempic. But, he's an adventurous guy. He wouldn't take that sort of crap. He's the type of guy that would train himself to get there. But so that was a seed of the product. So that's what I thought. So I asked people that were my target market what they would pay for, and that's what he would pay for, to look 10 years younger. So I went and created a product that would make you look, move and feel 10 years younger. And I called it Age Rejuvenation, and we sold that for like 5-6 grand at the time, and people were happy to pay it. And so all of my skill set has been developing, learning. Went and did a sports training course called strength resistance training and then muscle activation technique. Went and trained with top bodybuilders around the world. Went and trained with Lazo Freeman to become a body transformation coach. So during this whole time, I'm also doing an entrepreneur course. I'm doing a body transformation course. I'm learning about strength resistance and strength curves and profiles. I'm learning about muscle activation. So I'm getting better and better and better and better as a coach. So my skill set is growing. So basically, my skill set is staying up to date with my value. My value is increasing as my skill set increases. But as my skill set increases, I then have to relocate myself. I have to keep finding a new place to put myself, because you start to top out where you are. Do you see what I mean? It's a little bit like Gym Box, where I'm starting to top out a little bit. So now I'm going to start, getting on social media and doing this sort of stuff a bit more, so that more people can come into my sphere and go, right, what does that guy do? I've got 6 grand. I'd happily pay that. And I go, yeah, come over, come sit. We'll get you a membership and you can be in here for 3-4 months and get the best shape of your life. It's easy. It's straightforward. That's what I do. And if you don't do it, you get your money back. So, And do you know how many times I've given people their money back?
So far that I know, once.
Yeah, once. And that's because he didn't do anything. So if you're going to do the work, you're going to get the results.
So from this point then, obviously you have your business now. You, what did you do after?
So COVID hits, right? So,
of course,
yeah. So COVID hit. So I've got this great business running.
Wait, sorry. So how long were you running the business like that then?
3-4 years, I think. I can't remember the exact dates, but we was in there for 3-4 years. Great, was doing all these great parties. So I've written into the contract that they provided the food and beverages for like a Christmas party and a summer party. So we'd have DJs down, we'd have banners, and we'd have charcuterie boards, and anyway, so just an amazing experience. Imagine that I'm really flying now, right? So now me and Cameron were like, this is great. Let's try and expand. We've got more coaches working for us. We go down to Four Seasons. We're looking at having other high-end facilities that we can put our brand in and run what we're doing. So we literally signed a contract with Four Seasons for their gym to basically do the same thing, and COVID hits and the doors are closed on the business, and overnight I lost like £150,000. I lost all of the money. Everything like lost. So I'll tell you how extreme it was. Actually, we'd invested every penny into the business, growing it. So when you've got PAs, you're building websites, you're putting money into GDPR. All of this costs money. There's like an infrastructure that goes on, so your costs are running at £6,000 to £10,000 a month with labour and stuff like that, marketing things. So there's, it could be even more actually, probably more like 15 grand. So obviously when COVID hit, now half of the business, like half the people we had to pivot straight away. So it was like, right, we'll go online. But half the people didn't want to go online. They didn't fancy it. Yeah. So now half of my 40 grand a month business is now down to 10, 15, right? So we're really up against it. And so this is how tough it is, right? We'd invested all our money for like a bit of a payday. So we had a couple of clients who were due to reload. So the day before COVID, we had 2 clients that paid us 7 grand each, right? 15k for a year up front, right? So me and Cameron were like, happy days. Now I can pay off the credit cards, go on a little holiday. Great, finally. COVID hits and they asked for their money back.
Oh, okay.
So imagine that, like all the credit cards that would run up, basically to keep things moving and keep things growing, we now can't pay off. So now I've got all this debt that I can't really pay. And the little bonus that I thought I was going to get has been pulled underneath. And not only that, I'm now not making any money.
Yeah.
And I've got all these coaches that I want to keep working, but there's not really enough time, to keep them going, and also to keep me and Cameron. So we take a massive pay cut. We're like living off like £1,000 a month, something stupid, and we've got families to support. And then I have a daughter in Ireland, and so I decided to move to Ireland and try and raise my daughter, and that's its own saga. But living with her parents, the grandparents in their house during COVID, trying to rescue a business in the UK, trying to have a daughter, it hit quite hard.
It's a lot, man. Yeah,
it's a lot. And so then I went through my own sort of dark period. So all of the drinking and like recreational drug use that I had in the UK, which was just for fun, now become like a coping mechanism.
Right.
So this is because now I'm on my own. I've got no one around me. My partner is got all her mates. They're happy. They're going out, and I'm basically left at home babysitting my daughter. And she's like, "Well, you're the dad. It's not babysitting." I'm like, it feels pretty much like I'm babysitting if you're going out all the time. And they're like, "Well, you can go out." And I'm like, "Where can I go out? Like, I don't know anyone. Like, there's nowhere I can go. It's COVID. There's nowhere it can go. I can go." So, like, I went through like this quite abusive, like emotionally abusive period where I was sort of made to feel like I was, like just a dickhead basically. And why are you keeping this dream alive in the UK? So they sort of looked down upon me for having these dreams. And they were the type of people that have never done anything with their lives. They're just working in the same job for 30 years, so they didn't get the entrepreneurial spirit.
Yeah.
So that now I'm with a bunch of people that have got no idea why I'm doing what I'm doing, don't respect it, and I'm locked basically in a house with them 24 hours a day. With a baby, and with a partner that is off now. She's like, great, I can do whatever I want. So did that for 2 years, tried keeping the business going, and we pivoted and we created Truth Fitness, which was like the online brand, and so that's still going today. You can still work with Truth Fitness now. So
okay.
you know, probably I would say it's the best online transformation business that exists. You'd only probably come into contact with them through LinkedIn, but go look them up. Truth Fitness, Cameron Harris. So you know that they'd be a great business to work for if you wanted to do online. And this is the differentiator. So this is sort of then the journey now takes a bit of a spin, because now I'm having to work in an office, right, and do like sales calls and stuff like that. Now, do you remember what I told you that I'd learnt back in my 20s? I'm now in my 30s, and I'm back in an office. Yeah. Back in an office.
Back in an
office. How do we think that worked out?
Not too well.
Not too well. No, it didn't. So, you know, we struggled on, and I did the best that we could, but, you know, it got to a point where it just wasn't working for me anymore, and it wasn't viable. There was no point in me keep going on with
this miserable
lifestyle, just to try and keep the business going, and it wasn't working, and it was too much pressure and stress from a business partner to have me in a business, because I just wasn't really probably pulling my weight properly, and you know I just was not happy. So sell the business to him, you know, tie everything up, and then I need to make some money, right? So I go start working in a pub. I do some like Indian deliveries in the evening. I've bought a flat by this point as well, so I'm now in Chelmsford. So I'm now out in Chelmsford, and I've got my own place. So I'm not in the health industry anymore. I'm just in make money game.
Because you have the mortgage.
Because I've got a mortgage,
yeah.
So then my bills start going up, and I have to get someone to move in and rent one of the rooms off of me. So that's okay. That works for a little bit, but then we get to a point where, you know, I'm just not happy. I'm getting depressed. I'm miserable. I'm boozing a lot, and you know, I'm doing drugs a lot, and that's all my life is basically, is, you know, doing some shitty jobs and living in my house. So that was like a bit of a depressing stage. So I lost a lot of money. You know, lost any relationship that might have existed with my partner in Ireland, because they felt that I'd stabbed them in the back by buying a place in London, but they didn't understand that I was looking in Ireland, and you needed to live and pay taxes for 3 years. It was COVID, so that wasn't happening. Or have 75 grand cash. Didn't have that. It wasn't an option. I couldn't find anywhere, and anything that was up for rent in Ireland was like £2,000 a month. I didn't have £2,000 a month to pay. So anyway, long story short, I bought a flat in Chelmsford, and then that caused like some heavy depression for me, where now I was sort of shunned by the family in Ireland. I wasn't allowed to stay over there, so I'd have to go stay in hotels. I'd have to go hire cars and stay in hotels to go see my daughter. And so now I'm trying to keep up a relationship with my daughter in another country, and I'm not really making money. I'm using credit cards to go over there. I'm trying to keep up appearances and thinking I'll get a payday, which is part of the entrepreneurial spirit. You're like this, never ending, like, you know,
you're always trying to find it,
and you think that there's a pot of gold always around the corner, an eternal optimist. So, you know, that learnt some lessons. Like, you can't be so optimistic that you forget reality. So you still got to be attached to reality. Hey, if you're smashing credit cards to pay for stuff, you are not in a healthy place with your money. So you've got to check yourself and start making some money. And I would suggest that no one gets into credit card debt. If you're not good with money, I would stay away from credit cards. And the people that use credit cards, they're savvy with money, and they're not using credit cards like the average person. Like, I think most people use it to bridge the gap between not having money and getting paid a little bit of money. People that actually use them properly, they've got the money, they're paying it off straight away. They're just building up.
I've had these conversations, but I just don't understand it.
I wouldn't. I would just dodge credit cards. If you're not into money, and if you're not been brought up around money, which I wasn't, you're not going to have this that influence around you, and it's very easy to get into a lot of debt. And then when your payments are just the interest, then you're really looking at and credit cards. They'll give you 4 or 5. You'd have 10 grand on 4 or 5 cards, which I had at one point. And now you've got a problem. So then I'm in Chelmsford. I'm just basically doing whatever work I can, and now really I've hit rock bottom, right? So I've called up the Samaritans. I don't know if anybody knows about the Samaritans.
That's isn't it like to talk to someone basically?
Yeah, if you're in a certain state of mind.
Right.
So if you're about to, top yourself.
Oh, right. Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah. So that's where things got for me. So I was like in a place where I wasn't leaving my bed. I couldn't get out of bed. I was drinking wine, and I basically put myself into a depressive state. But my whole environment, like my mates say, take it easy on yourself, because you was going through quite a lot of shit as well.
Yeah.
But I don't think it helps if you're going through shit. I don't think it helps if you medicate with drugs and alcohol. I think that just makes it worse, and it compounds the problem. So any top tips for anybody that's going through it? Just try and stay healthy. And I would say, if we could just have a message out there for anybody about mental health, I believe that looking after your body and staying healthy is the cheapest way for you to not get depressed. And if you are feeling shit about yourself, just get to the gym. All right. It's a lot cheaper than buying a gram of coke every day. And the hit that you're going to get, the dopamine rush that you get from having a line of coke, is the same sort of hit that you can get from going to the gym, and you're not going to have the depression afterwards, and you're going to have all of the looking behind your back or looking through the window all night either. It's just so much better for you. So if anyone's going for it out there, just reach out, because we can share some like top tips. But get to the gym, go to the gym every day. And in fact, it's the gym that saved me, basically. I got back into the gym, and going to the gym, realigning myself with my health, putting myself first, was the start of me regaining self-respect. And
like a phoenix, man, resurrecting.
That's it. That is my emblem. So that will be the image, the phoenix. Yeah.
No, fair enough. So from that, basically, now we've gone into gym box.
Yeah. So I've done a little bit of. So I needed to make money. I've moved back to Chigwell, back at my mum's house, right? So we're trying to rescue everything now. So everything's rock bottom, right? I've got paperwork I've ignored, credit cards, I've got all this crap going on. I need to make money. I've got a daughter in another country. I've got still all the stress going on that I had. But now we're like, okay, Tony needs to look after himself. So I got back to my mum's house. They started to help me get my finances together, my administration. It took like 2 years to get this ready, right? It takes a long time because you're sending letters, you're sending income statements and all this sort of stuff. But then we get to a point where I'm now doing a little bit of like building work for some friends, and then that builds my courage back up that I can start making some money. I'm quite good at it, and a lot of my friends just said, Tone, you're a really good PT, like you need to get back into this game. And so then I'm like, yeah, sweet. So I go back to Legends, which is my bodybuilding gym, get back in there, rebuild some of my client base, get some old clients back working with me, and yeah, from there, my friend Daniel, he was like, Tone, look, Gym Boxer looking for someone, you should go down and check it out. And literally I just sort of got headhunted, and they was like, yeah, look, you're exactly what we need a body transformation coach, and we need someone that knows his shit. Can you come down and work here? And so yeah, that's what I done. I went down there, and obviously while I was at Legends, I'd went and got a couple of guys in great shape. One of them did a bodybuilding show with me, which was last year. So like as that was finishing, I was also working at Gym Box. And so like I built up a client base, I built up a reputation at Legends, got someone in the best shape of their life, put them on stage, did it with them. So now I'm back in the game.
Head's more focused now.
Head's more focused, I'm not doing all the silly stuff with drugs and alcohol, and I'm now back in like, let's make some money now, let's focus on my career. And so yeah, that was like a year ago. So it's taken a bit of time to get back to where I am. And then I was like, right, I need to get my body fixed, and this is where I started looking at functional patterns, because my spine was all out of whack. And then I realised how important it was to work with the fascia and the tensegrity in the body. So now my skill levels went up another level. So now not only am I like a top body transformation coach, but I can also sort your posture out. So now I've got like the game changer shit. And just before that, funny enough, I should have said, I was working with my friend Tony. So do you remember I said I was working in the gym with Tony Chin and Margaret Pope?
Yeah.
So their gym had then turned into a CrossFit gym. So while I'm at Legends, I've got a little bit of work working with those guys at their gym. And Tony Chin always used to teach me all like the release work on how to get people out of pain. He's one of the top sort of physios in the world, back specialist. And so I was like, right, let's get into that. Let's people in pain. It's really good to know how to get people out of pain as a PT, because people are always in pain. So I am, in my opinion, like a very, very top pain, pain relief biomechanical specialists. Like people will go to physios and I'll get them out of pain that the physios can't. And I just call myself a PT because it's easier than saying I'm a dietitian, a nutritionist. It's just there's so much you could say. A life coach, whatever. I'm just a personal trainer. I'm just you're going to pay top dollar because I can do it all. So I go and do a massage course basically. So now I'm an ITEC qualified masseuse as well. So that's what I did last year. I did a qualification in massage therapy. So now I do like release work on my clients. I massage them. So they get like the full thing. So now I'm looking at the body. I'm looking at how to get people out of pain, and I come into contact with functional patterns, and they're like, this is how you get people out of pain through training. You've got to work the body as a system. And I'm like, aha, that's like another aha moment. So now I can work the body manually. I can work, by moving the tissue around with my fingers. I can release it, with a stretch and pull technique, but pin and stretch techniques. I can get adhesions out of it. I can floss, the nerves, like the sciatic nerve and stuff like that, so you get out of pain. And now I can correct your posture from having lordosis, scoliosis, kyphosis, all this sort of stuff. Forward shifted, forward tilted, pelvis, all this sort of stuff. So now you're like, right, well, what is it that I can't do? Well, there's not much really. There's not much else that I can't do. I don't know, mate. I can even cook.
But I think that goes to show. I think when people are really into what they're doing, the learning never stops. I feel if you really, that's how you know you're into something. You're just constantly trying to learn more. That's amazing, man. It's like from all the places that you've worked, what was your favorite time?
My favourite time, I think probably when I was young at LA Fitness. Like, it was just a cool time when there was a lot of money around, and it was really fun because you get paid in cash. Oh. People still walked in with, it'd be 10 sessions, they'd come in 500 quid cash in a little brown envelope. So you get 5 of those on a Friday night. You're going out, you're having a good time. Yeah. So me and my pals, we had a really good time. We go to Covent Garden. Like, it got to the point where, like, I'd come in on a Friday and I'd go buy all my clothes for that night, to go have the night on the day. Yeah. So that was good. That was really fun. Virgin Active was really fun because I learned a lot. That was where they had like a program where they had like a master coach sort of position where a coach would be taking all of the younger coaches through, biomechanical stuff or whatever and teaching them stuff. So I learned a lot there. Yeah, they were like my 2 favourites, and this gym now is my favourite because I'm really coming into, like, all right, Tony's back. He's back, from the wilderness, and, he's bringing that A game, and I'm changing how things are done. Like, this is like the best that has ever been done in London. So, like, you'd consider like Ultimate Performance to be the top body transformation gym, in the world, really. And you might consider the stuff that I do to be of a higher level and standard than what they do.
Wow.
And they're the best. So when I say I think I'm the best, I know I'm the best. Yeah.
Love that. Tony, so for the last kind of bit of the show, sorry man, I've kept you here for longer than is normal. So basically I just ask a few questions again, like I said, this is potentially for people who are looking into, obviously want to listen to your story, but as well someone who might be looking for a career change, someone who is looking to get into the career. Yeah. Questions, mate. So what makes you good at your job?
You've got to be passionate. You've got to love, like, specifically what makes me good at my job, or what makes you good.
What makes you good at your job?
What makes me good? Yeah. That I love the body more than anybody else I know. So it makes me very good because I'm like the body expert, you know what I mean? And what makes me specifically good, I think, is that I've got a nice dose of empathy, but also a bit of tyranny as well. So, like, you need someone that is going to keep you focused, but understand your point of view. So, like, I get what it's like to be out of shape and to be, trying everything that you can to get in shape. Yeah. And I know what it's like to feel like you're doing all the right things and not be seeing the results, because I've been there. And I don't talk about anything that I haven't done or I've not been through. So I think experience, passion, and I think I enjoy what I do. So I think that energy that spills out into my clients. So I think they get it. Like, I'm not sitting like you. Some trainers, I think, is just cheap therapy for people. You know, like they will go to a personal trainer and chat to them all session.
Oh, I see. Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you can have that, or you can have people that just chat absolute nonsense. Like literally, some of the stuff I hear personal trainers come out with, it makes my ears bleed and my eyes are just watering. It's like someone skewered me. But I try not to focus on it because I just got to stay in my lane. Just do whatever you want. Like your clients just don't know any better, you know. So it's fine. They don't know what excellence looks like, and you're pretending to be what it is. So whatever. Yeah, I think that's what makes me good at my job, is I really care about my clients as well.
Nah, cool. That's awesome, man. So if I wanted to do your job, what advice would you give me in order to be as successful as I can?
Right, if you wanted to be right, I would go learn how to do body transformations, okay, because this is where you're going to make the most amount of money in our industry. So become a body transformation coach, right? You're going to learn how to do nutrition, mindset, goal setting, and the training, right? So that's going to set you up in a really good place, and you're going to build a portfolio with before and afters really well. Okay, so that there is going to be the first step. Then the next step is I want you to go learn functional patterns so that you can learn how to get people out of pain and fix their bodies and posture. Now, to go do that, you're going to have to, it's not the easiest thing in the world, but you're going to have to learn, you're going to have to go back to your books that you did at university. If you didn't go to university, it's going to be a challenge because you're going to have to learn the body, anatomy and physiology. You're gonna have to go back to that. So even me, who's been doing it for 20 years, I still, you know, what's that muscle, or what's it called, what does that do? You know, it's a totally different language. But I would suggest that you do body transformation as a business opportunity, and then if you want to change the world, go do functional patterns and learn how to change people's bodies from inside out.
Okay. Well, to be fair, that kind of answers my next question a little bit, which is, would you recommend me to seek further education?
Yeah, you got to be learning, and don't stop. You know, just start following people that are doing some cool stuff. And even if you're into, you know, rubbish training that doesn't make sense, you know, like climbing up trees and it's primal training, you're going to enjoy it. Do you know what I mean? There's stuff that I learned that, you know, I don't use, or it's a bit redundant now, but you know, like it's all part of enjoyment. So enjoy what you do, because whatever you learn, you're going to share with your clients, and it's going to be new and fresh, and they're going to be like, oh wow, that looks cool. Even if you're just doing agility stuff up and down a ladder, you know what I mean, or kettlebells or boxing training, whatever it is, you know what I mean, like that's going to be fun. Your clients are going to enjoy it. So go just enjoy what you do and share that with your clients, because they're going to enjoy it too, and that's going to keep them interested and keep them coming back.
I agree, man. I agree. Okay, cool. So, next question is, what would I have to be interested in for you to recommend this job to me?
Right, I think having spent a lot of time now learning about myself, I think you need to be interested in being the best version of yourself, so that you can apply that to the people around you. And I would say specifically in like a health perspective, like the category of health. So go treat yourself as your main client, as your main project, and you know, imagine what would I do if I was paying myself £20,000 a year to be my own personal trainer, right? And go do that. Go do it on yourself, because everything that you learn and you do on yourself, you'll be able to repeat and do with others. So the best thing you can do is treat yourself like you're a multi-billionaire health nut that is going to get in the best shape of your life, because what you learn on that journey, you can share with others, and they'll probably pay you for it.
That's a good one. That's a good way of looking at it, I guess.
Yeah.
At what point in your life did you say, this is what I want to do? Or is it that you started and are still riding the wave?
16, I decided that I wanted to work with people in their health, and I believe that that health should not be something that you have to pay for. I think it should be something that, you know, it should be part of our National Health Service. And I've spent the last 20 years trying to get to a place where I can afford to give people some of my knowledge and help them. And so I believe that this has been a journey that has been growing from a seed of that brain that I had 20 years ago. And maybe one day I'll create a secondary healthcare system in this country, and we will see that come to fruition.
That sounds actually really beautiful, man.
Cheers, man.
Yeah. Are you happy with your path? What would you change about your career?
Yeah, no regrets. Yeah, no regrets. If I could change anything, it would be like maybe not to have missed so many sessions with clients because I was up all night, with girls and doing drugs basically. So that doesn't set you on good terms with people.
Right.
But that's just part of the journey. See, everything happens for a reason. It all sets us up for tomorrow. So, what was the last bit? What would I change?
What would you change about your career? Yeah.
What would I change about it? I'd probably make the information that I know more available to the world. I think that it should be open source. I think we should all know what I know so that coaches could be better at what they do. I think we should be really well respected, but be really good. I think it should be a profession. So when I had people working for me, I said, look, I want you to be professional personal trainers, not just PTs, and they were paid very, very well, and I trained them to the highest standard possible, and I'm even better now, and if I was to train people up now, they would be of an elite level. So if I could change the industry, it would be that personal trainers were paid salaries like doctors and nurses, and that they were treated with respect and it was a professional job, but that they had the same level of knowledge that doctors would have, just in a different way. Like I just think that there's a gap between physios and doctors and like PTs where they could actually come together. There could be there could be synergy. I think a lot of what physios and doctors do, they miss out on what I know as a personal trainer.
Right.
And I think if they had some of my knowledge, or if they leaned on me, they would be better at what they do. In fact, I know that 100% because I can live outside of the box. I can go outside into decentralized medicine. I can do stuff with clients that isn't in the prescription of being a physio.
Right.
And so they're stuck in their prison. They're stuck in their little medical world where they can't escape.
What happens if they go out? They can get in trouble.
Yeah, they can get in trouble.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
they get sued. So their job is to do what the NHS tells them to do.
Oh, okay.
Right? Their job isn't to think; it's just to apply the training that they've had. In as much, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
they're not really there to go, oh well, this might work. This is what someone's been doing in a different part of the world that's brand new.
Oh yeah, we
they're
can't
not
do
really
that.
there. No.
Yeah, right.
No.
That's interesting.
No,
that is really interesting.
Experiment. They can't do experimental stuff. Which is what it would be considered. In my world, it's not experimental because it works, but it only works because I'm using it, experimenting on a daily basis with people, and I'm working it out as I go.
Right.
They don't have the freedom to do that.
So couldn't you potentially be putting yourself at risk by doing that?
No, because it's private sector, right? Like people know what they're coming in for.
Okay.
Right. So
fair
listen,
enough.
like I'm going to try and fix this. If this works, then great. If it doesn't, we'll try another way. Are you okay with that? Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah. No, of course. I didn't really look at it. Well, yeah.
Well, like the diet I put you on, 800 calories, right? That comes from what the NHS would put a diabetic on who was obese, right? So I got that from them, which is why I knew it was healthy. But I've also worked with healthcare professionals that are like, oh, you're starving people. I'm like, you don't even know your industry like I do. You don't even know that that's the diet. That's the Cambridge diet. That's what you put a diabetic on that's obese, 800 calories.
That's really interesting. Yeah.
So people aren't using their own information,
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I'm not gonna lie, when I was put on that, the amount of people that told me that's too little.
Yeah. Because
the information's not there.
The information they've got just isn't not of a high enough standard. But I know, and I also know that the best time to do a hardcore diet is at the beginning. So we did it. We did a hardcore diet, and guess what? You're still healthy. You look great, and you lost 35 kg or something. 30 kg.
Yeah.
So, what say you now? All those people that are like, it's too low. They're looking at you going, what? Oh,
shit.
Shit. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, shit. Yeah.
Oh, no,
so
man.
there we go.
No, Tony, man, it's been a pleasure, mate. But I was going to say, before we go, Tony, if anyone wants to reach you, how do people get to reach you, see your information, see what you have to put out there online?
So it's all coming. So great question. Yeah. So it's all on its way. I've got Instagram. I'll have a website coming. That's all it is. But Tony Mac Official is my current Instagram account, but there'll be some coming out. I've got a new brand coming out, really exciting. So you've caught me at a time, and I can't tell you exactly because it's all just under wraps. But can I say, watch this space?
Absolutely.
Go find me on Instagram, Tony Mac Official. Add me there, and you'll find some stuff coming out, and it'll all be merged and put into the right place. You've just got a point when I'll be like going boom. So,
amazing, Tony. You've been
wicked,
amazing today, man. Thank you very much for being on the show today, mate.
Appreciate it. Cheers, mate. Thank you.
Tony, thank you, man.
Namaste.